Hey everybody, how we doing? How we doing? How we doing? August 19th. August 19th. Check into the stream. No glasses today. I had to get a haircut, so I had to put my contacts in. I don't feel like taking them out. I will later though. So I'll have the glasses on later. What up, Naomi? How we doing? More of a chill stream, I guess. Given all the news. It's not really chill, but like I don't have breaking news for you guys today like we have been. So no pulse pounding live reaction stuff, but we're gonna be going into what Trump said yesterday and what it means for the election and his ongoing targeting of mail-in ballots and also everything else too. So it's going to be mail-in ballots, but also just kind of rambling and going through all of it and what's happening and all the latest with Trump in America. Not reviewing Gamescom. I was late to it already. I'll watch the highlights later, but I had to get a haircut. I needed a haircut. I was looking ragged. So that took precedent. Got it done. And now here we are. Because as I promised, I said yesterday, because during the Trump-Zelensky meeting, he mentioned mail-in ballots and he wants to end it. So I said, oh, well, looks like that's our stream topic for tomorrow. Even though we got to wait for further when it comes to Ukraine, because now Trump's going to be brokering talks between Zelensky and Putin. So we got to see what the hell that means and where the hell is it going. Thank you so much, Memelkio, everybody. Plus, check into the stream and how you're doing. Man, contacts are so different than glasses, because like if they get dry for like 3 seconds, shit goes blurry. In my glasses, that never happens. So I think I'm like my glasses more now at this point. Hello, everybody. Why mail-in ballots? Because we'll get into that. But it's more than just mail-in ballots. We're trying to target the democratic system as a whole, the foundation of it, everything involved with it, voting, all that, trying to limit voting. I bet you by the time I'm old, you'll have to be like rich to be able to vote. You gotta pay a subscription fee to vote or something, which we already do. We pay taxes. That's our subscription fee. But they're gonna have, I bet you the Republicans, if they get their way, they're gonna want us to do some type of payment plan to vote or something. Like that's where we're heading towards, to where only the rich will be able to eventually, or people that are just in the best case scenario for everything, right? Like how it used to be. Apparently that's what they want. Subscription fee, taxes, exactly. So taxes are taxes, not a subscription fee. You don't, no mandatory one. Well, you don't have a choice to pay it. The America Battle Pass, but everything you get is like nothing you want. Sometimes that's like rare. You get a rare item sometimes, like Affordable Care Act or something, or the chip. The Biden had some good stuff. He had some rare items in his battle pass. He had the CHIPS Act was really good, obviously, for our technology, and the infrastructure bill is good because we have old stuff in America all over the place that needed to be refurbished or fixed. So all that's good. All that is good stuff. Beyond that, most of it is things you don't want. Common items or bad items that you just toss away. The COVID stimmy. So mail-in ballots. We can get into it. I've mailed in my ballot a couple times during COVID, and then when I was in the military. Right? I can get rid of the breaking news tick. I'll leave my news ticker on. I just forgot to adjust it, so it's yesterday's stuff on there, but it's still valid. I mean, nothing's changed really on there. Nothing profound happened other than Putin and Zelensky maybe potentially have a sit down. Who knows? We'll see. So Trump wants to stop states from voting by mail and using voting machines. Even though Fox News and now Newsmax have both paid in damages because of their lies about voting and the voting machines, and that it could be hacked and all this nonsense, and the oh my goodness, because they lost the 2020 election, so they crafted 18,000 different conspiracies as to why that happened. Meanwhile, in the 2026 midterms coming up, they're just openly cheating, or like they're going to. And then you got Greg Abbott crying. Did I post that? Yes. Goodness. There's so much happening. It's just tough to keep up with sometimes. Yeah. God dang it. I think Ace. Oh, do you know who did? Would have been Ace did. I think I responded to it. Oh, I did respond to it. You got Hot Wheels. He's pretty upset about the Democrats responding in kind with what they're doing. The derelict Democrats spent about 2 weeks shirking their responsibilities and wasting taxpayer money running from a fight. Yeah, they're running from our cheating. Now Republicans will do what we were always going to do. Pass the maps. That's why I'm like, we're gonna do what we always were gonna do. We were always gonna do this. Like they're saying, they can say the quiet part out loud. Okay, and it just should be what it is. But you got people that support this and Trump or whatever that shield themselves in layers and pounds of cope. But they're literally like, We are literally going to gerrymander and rig the election and provide more Republicans because we know we're cooked. And Democrats better not do it or they're just as bad. And then you got people on the far left. Yeah, Democrats, don't do that. Yeah, that's corporate stuff. That's bad. That's America bad. And then it's like you got people doing it versus people telling you not to do it. And so then I'm just glad Gavin Newsom's like fisting through that right now. That's literally what they're doing. Thank you, Nancy Mace. California, no one better. I mean, you know, Gavin Newsom is imperfect. He's got his, but you got this going on, guys. This is what we're going up against. Like, now is not the time to purity test. Okay, did that in 2024. How'd it go? Let it happen. Purity testing, entertaining nonsense. Okay, not gonna happen. I'm not doing. I didn't do it. I didn't do it anyways before. But I'm gonna be going at the people doing it, and if they do, because they're going to. But I want to be going at those people, and MAGA, because MAGA I can do that all day long, and I have been. I have so many hours of evidence of just openly calling MAGA all types of names every day. It's like every day. But if we're gonna have a thorn, and that's what it is, there's gonna be a thorn in terms of purity testing the Democrats. Now I want it to be I want there to be a primary. If there's a primary, there's nothing else to, because I'll give you that in 2024, not really, not a primary. Biden was like Kamala Harris, so there was like a, okay, I'll give you that for sure. But there's going to be a primary, and if Newsom or whoever the hell comes out on top, I like Shapiro too. I like a few different Democrats, to be honest, not just what Gavin Newsom's doing. I'd have to even look into Gavin Newsom's specific policies. I know in California hasn't been the very best. I'd rather have Tim Walz. Tim Walz was like doing Newsom, but also has really good policies, and doesn't, isn't Gavin Newsom-esque like that. He's just more for the, but I don't think Tim Walz is as flashy as Gavin Newsom. I think that's why Newsom's working better. And Newsom's team is just knocking it out of the park on social media, but Tim Walz is doing that himself. Yeah, that's why I like my governor. But I really think the assassinations in Minnesota really kind of took Walz's spirit out a little bit. Like he's had some tweets here, but I understand that though. I understand that, I empathize with him because, I don't, he might feel like he might be responsible in terms of the putting rhetoric out there that then is reciprocated back. And then he feels, guilty because he will say JD Vance fucks couches or something. And then some crazed ass MAGA Republican will be offended and then go kill Democrats. And that's what it is. So he's probably weighing that right now. And it's tough. Very tough, because we had assassinations in Minnesota because of how our political climate is. And don't forget that the Hortman family, literal assassinations in the day of the No Kings protest. Still, we're out there though. It was the biggest protest we've had. We haven't had numbers that big since that day, but the protest still went on even the day of the assassination. Democrats love mail-in voting because it's so easy to cheat. More like Democrats love mail-in voting because it provides more opportunities for Americans to vote. Because one, not everybody can take the day off because we don't have a federal holiday for voting. Two, we have service members that are serving overseas or are OCONUS or are in a different state than their home state, so they have to mail in their vote because they're absent, and it's called an absentee ballot. Three, there's states that don't even have voting boxes. Like Oregon, I think it's Oregon, and there's other ones, and they have to mail in. There is no other option to vote. So what are you talking about? And plus, we've had mail-in voting since the Civil War. We have had mail-in vote. No matter, you're just gonna get timed out because you're just gonna be an R word, and I'm just timing you out. How about I say that, you guys? I'm gonna call them R words. I won't say the actual word. Can I do that? Okay. Because I got all caps, dude. Here. Okay. We've had mail-in voting since the Civil War, and it's been a staple of voting in America. It's just the Republicans that want to cut it out, even though it would hurt themselves. It would hurt their own base. States where states. I'll get to this. Mail-in ballot only. States with all mail elections. All mail? Is that what this is? Oh, okay. There you go. All mail voting. 8 states: California, Colorado, Hawaii, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Vermont, and Washington conduct what are commonly referred to as all mail. Or universal mail-in elections. In these states, voting is... Okay, my bad. I forgot. The one day I forgot. Oh, I do have the troll filter on. Listen, remember Monday's coming back. A lot of y'all are not members anymore. I'm bringing that back. I fixed all my membership tiers and everything, but Mondays are my member chat day. Do not forget that. Background: every state provides for some method whereby voters can cast ballots without visiting a physical polling place. The terms absentee voting, voting by mail, all mail voting, or voting from home are sometimes used to describe these methods, which can be divided into 2 categories: automatic mail-in ballot systems and request-required mail-in ballot systems. Automatic mail-in ballot systems. Automatic mail-in ballot system mandate that all eligible voters receive either a ballot or ballot application by default. Okay? So, you know what MAGA was doing in 2024? They were taking the applications and lying and saying that those were ballots. And I got sent like 18 different ballots. They were applications, which aren't ballots. But MAGA they're liars, lying liars that lie, and I know them all. I know them personally too. It's unfortunate because I was alive in 2020 as well. I was more right wing at that point, so I was more connected to these people. I've fallen. They've dropped me. I've dropped them. Good, but beyond that, back in 2019, 2020, I called them liars too. I was like, no, you didn't. You did not get multiple ballots in the mail. You're lying. You got the applications. Or you got the voter registrations, and then MAGA wanting to play the cool game, or I gotta. It's like you got the Fox News propaganda that lies, and then you got voters that engage in the lie because they want to feel cool, or they want to feel like hip or like part of the cool crowd. So they got to say, yeah, I got, or like this, or COVID. Yeah, I got myocarditis. I know 6 people that got myocarditis. Fuck off. No, you don't. You liar. Judas. Jesus, dude. They're all lying, too. Don't ever take them serious. Never, ever take them seriously. They're lying because they're trying to uphold their right-wing propaganda and they feel cool doing it. Yeah. Yeah, I know, like, my whole family got myocarditis. Okay, I can't spell it. Spell it. How do you spell myocarditis? Because if you had that shit, you know how to spell it or whatever, bro. That shit is now a joke if you get it for real, but like them motherfuckers don't have it. So California, automatic mail-in ballot. Okay, Colorado, automatic mail-in. So all these places. So these are if Trump wants to get rid of mail-in voting, he'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, 8 states in Washington D.C. not being able to vote. They receive a mail-in ballot by default. By default. So how those states would have to change their voting laws, which that's not going to happen, especially in California or Colorado. Or you want to lose Nevada? Well, Nevada's I don't know. Maybe you can figure that's a purple state now. You really want to? I mean, it's just not going to happen. Okay, we're just not going to have that. In terms of Trump being able to tell the states that they can't vote. Also, here's some fact checks, because Trump also lied yesterday and said that we're the only country. I mean, Trump lies as he breathes, and whenever you hear noise coming out of Trump's mouth, it's a lie. Just understand that, and most Republicans, but Trump, especially Trump and MAGA. President Donald Trump vowed to take action against voting by mail, which he said makes the United States an outlier. We are now the only country in the world that uses mail-in voting, Trump wrote in August 18th Truth Social post. His post echoed grievances about mail-in voting he had aired days earlier in his interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity. After meeting with Russian President Putin on August 15th in Alaska, Trump told Hannity that Putin said the 2020 election was rigged because of mail-in voting. And Trump seems to talk to Putin and then remember the first term where Trump went against his own intelligence community about the Russian meddling, and then Putin was like, we didn't do that. And then Trump was like, yeah, he didn't do that. Putin told me. Hell yeah, they didn't meddle. It was the fake news media, and they attack him like they attack me, and he's a victim too. That's how it went the first term. So same situation here when after his recent Putin meeting. Hours after this post, Trump slightly softened his language during a White House meeting with Ukraine President Zelensky. And where's the clip? And do you know we're the only country in the world, and I may be wrong, but we're just about the only country in the world that uses mail-in voting. Just lie. Lie. Dozens of countries allow at least some mail-in voting. An International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance found that 34 countries or territories, 12 allow all voters to vote by mail, and in 22 permit only some voters to vote this way. Europe has the largest number of countries that make in-country postal voting available to all or some voters. No two countries have exactly the same postal voting system, which also, ironically, the Republicans and Trump are trying to get rid of the USPS and make it completely privatized. Anyways, that's part of it too. But we have that's the one thing America's solid on. We had a solid mail system, but by the time I'm a senior, I'm have to pay for everything. I'm going to have to pay to flush my fucking toilet. Even though you do already kind of with your bill, but like I'm talking every flush is going to be like a charge or something, dude. Because the Republicans. No two countries have exactly the same postal voting system, and Annika Silva Leander, the organization's North America head, Silva Leander noted some differences. Ballot tracking lets voters and election officials track ballots throughout the voting process to reduce fraud. Although that is common in the U.S., many countries don't have it. Contrary to Republican lies. Different state systems. Many countries have the same postal voting system for the entire nation. In the U.S., the system differences from state to state. The majority of states allow voting by mail, including red, blue, and battleground states. Mailing ballots to all voters is unusual. In most countries, postal voting supplements polling stations, but some U.S. states, such as Washington State, rely largely on postal voting. They don't have polling stations, I guess. I mean, for me, that's just what they do over there. And we have them. I mean, you go to your local church or school. You got most of the Republicans voting at the churches and everyone else voting at the schools. That's how it works. But you can vote at the church. You can vote wherever you want, as long as you're voting in the district you need to, and at home in your home state, and you're doing the right thing. But like in terms of in your city, you can vote. There's like in Minnesota, you can go to wherever the fuck. Like if I want to go wherever, I went to City Hall, or I could have went to the school. They were doing it too, or the church. Yeah, City Hall, school, and church are polling stations in my home state. But also, Minnesota has mail-in voting too. We have like everything. That's why I swear to God, bro, it'll be a fight if the Reds come up here and the Republicans want to try some shit. Keep that up in the rocks and cows. Keep that up there where the land can't talk back to you. Coming down here in the cities, because all of these, all of the things that help us continue to maintain a democracy, only most of Democrats are fighting for that. Only most of them. Mailing ballots to all voters is unusual. In most countries, postal voting... Okay, I read that. Ballot curing. This is a U.S. process that lets voters fix a problem, such as forgetting to sign the envelope after casting their ballot. This process is not available in most countries. The U.S. has had voting by mail since the Civil War. Fact check, true on my part. Voting by mail also has a long history across the globe. Australia introduced postal voting more than a century ago. Damn, Aussies, where have you been? You should have been telling all my dumb American people that are claimed to be Americans that mail-in voting is staple. Should have told them. Where's my Aussies? Aussie. You gotta tell them. Tell them about mail-in voting. Graham Orr, an international expert on electoral law at the University of Queensland in Australia. All Canadians are eligible to use mail-in voting. Okay, Canadians, why don't you say something? Canadians can use mail-in voting too? What the heck? Said York University Associate Professor Carrie Wu, who co-wrote a 2024 paper about the effect of Trump's anti-mail voting messaging on Canadians' views of mail voting. Voting by mail has been a long. So these not even. This isn't even up for a discussion in these countries. I bet. Not even something to even think of, or you're not probably debating this in your countries. It's just kind of like. But in America, you got Republicans. That's the difference. We have that attack the foundation. They're not attacking the policies. They are attacking the foundation of everything, and try to tear it up and send us back into where only the elite control, only the actual elite. And you can say, well, they do control. They to an extent. To an extent, there's plenty of room for growth and opportunity as a middle ground person here in America. Okay, not everyone's going to be a millionaire. Not everyone's going to, literally not everyone's going to be a billionaire. Jeez, that's rarer. But living a modest life as a thousandaire or whatever, 10th, whatever, 6 figures, 5, whatever, that's fine. You know, you can live an absolute good life that way and be good out here. Okay, but the Republicans seem to make that aspect not easy, and living middle ground life and just trying to, just leave me alone. And to make my money, they're making it harder by giving more of your tax money to the ultra rich, and giving more of your benefits and everything, your take home money to the ultra rich and then they do that while lying to you and saying that the Democrats are doing that. But it's a wild reality in America. In the UK, they do it too. In the UK, on-demand postal voting in Britain was part of a wider modernization electoral administration in the early 2000s, according to a 2021 paper by United Kingdom researchers. Postal voting's expansion was driven largely by a desire to increase turnout. Using data from the 2019 British election study, researchers found that older voters and people with disabilities were more likely to opt for. Yeah, isn't that common sense? People that are old and can't, they're maybe more like my grandpa. My grandpa can't walk well now. You're gonna tell me my grandpa can't vote because he can't physically get to the polling station. He can't Pokemon go to the poll. He's gotta mail it in because and he served this country. He was a drill instructor in the Marine Corps, and you Republicans want to tell him he can't vote because why? Exactly. There's no reason. Oh, the immigrants, the George Soros. Shut up. Tell you what, dude. Dude, just can't, dude. I'm just getting tired. It's tiring. It's literally tiring because we can't actually. We're talking about, like I said, we're talking about the foundations of just democracy, things that are just lame. Actually, who the fuck wants to seriously debate mail-in fucking ballots as like a policy point? That should just be we should be talking about tax breaks or like effective uses of tax money, or we should talk about social programs and getting more money into them because we're putting more money into private companies, and that's not good. It's fine to put money there, but there should be a balance. Or healthcare. Why are we doing this instead? Because Republicans. That's why. Because Republicans. States set mail-in voting laws, which again should be something that conservatives especially should absolutely fight for, being a small government political ideology, and states' rights, right? There's states' rights when it comes to like gay marriage, apparently, or whatever they want. States' rights, or what was the recent abortion? That was their recent one. Yeah, give it back to the states. Yeah, I'm a states first conservative. But then ice, baby, let's go ice. like cheering on the feds patrolling the streets. Hell yeah, that's my America. Or this one. This one just posted 2 hours ago. In an effort to make DC safe again, the U.S. Marshals announced a $500 reward for tips that lead to an arrest in Washington, D.C. Are we in the Soviet Union? Like, what are we doing? I'll offer $1,000 to provide me the record of the people that are engaging in this. How about that? $1,000 to bring me the names of people that take $500 to do this. That's what we need to be on. That's the shit we need to be on in America. Okay, because we have too many fucking people that will take this money and do this. Can I send a tip to arrest Trump? Yeah, you can snitch on the people that are snitching. That's where I'm at with it. And that's where I'll be at with it too, if it ever comes down to it. If it ever comes down to like a fascist America. Yep. Like super, like actual, you know what I mean? Like we're in a dictatorship for real, for real. With the resistance. I don't care what it is. I don't care. I've seen so many things to help with that, and I don't know how long I'll make it, but boy, am I gonna put a dent in whatever they got if it ever comes down to fascist, super ultra dictator Nazi America, like in the the Amazon show, where Man in the High Castle, where America loses World War II. You know what I mean? I'd be with the I'd be with the resistance side of that show easily. I mean, that's not even that wouldn't even be up for debate. So this is like the start. But you want to have Americans out here snitching on other Americans like we're living in Soviet Union times. Remember that only the Republican Party is engaging in this type of behavior, and don't let these far leftists lie to you either. It's like Kamala Harris would be doing the exact same thing. Go tell them to go fuck themselves too. Literally tell them to go take a hike. Okay, tell them, or go play in a busy area of the street or something. Go tell them to go away. Because no, she would not be doing this. Not at all. Not even something Democrats are interested in. Like, bro, I've seen it. I've been seeing it more and more and more because they're feeling it. I feel like the people that were like voted for Jill Stein and shit are also just like, because they can't cope with the fact that they were just, bro, they did not protest it would be one thing if that shit protested the Republican Party equally, and it was like they were just protesting the foundation, like the establishment of America. They did not do that. They did not do that at all. And then when Trump wins, they disappear. Just gone out here. So I didn't want to hear them purity test any Democratic candidate unless it's just like egregious. Like, for example, I'll give you the New York race, but Zoran seems to be doing well there. I'd take him and the more progressive candidate. But if there's progressive candidates like Zoran, that's easy though. That's great. That's great. Jill Stein though, are you with China money, bro? What are you doing? Or like when she's with the China-backed and Russian-backed organizations out there like Code Pink. Fuck out of here. Give me a progressive that's like American. And I'm with it. Like Zoran. And you got Cuomo, he's literally going against criminals who are, there you go, MAGA. There's two criminals between Cuomo and Adams in New York. They're criminals, but guess what, Trump only donated to Adams' campaign, and MAGA is really trying to root for Cuomo to win. Weird, though. Weird. We'll see how it goes out there. I really do hope Zoran does pull it off, because he seems to be like a good example of like a more progressive, non-establishment Democrat that can win. And do that, or you're gonna lose, or you find some absolute freak that is funded by our enemies. And that's not, you're going to take a fat L. You're going to take a fat L, and then you can cry and cry and cry, and it's only no one's fault but yours. But also the Democratic Party establishment too, if they do no primary, because that was bullshit too. I'm with that for sure. But they will be doing a primary, and if they don't, I'll have smoke for them, as everybody will, I think, because there's actually good options for the Democratic Party, and people want to see them. They want to see them debate each other. They want to see them together. They want to see them. They don't want to be like, they don't want to say, hey, this is your Democratic Party nominee. This is your person. Like, no one's going to like that. Everyone will hate that, no matter what. And yes, people would suck it up because it's Trump, but like it would not go. I don't know. I don't think it would go well. Got to have a primary. Got to happen. But there's a lot of good options though, and I think it'll be beneficial to have a primary. People will be excited. People will be motivated to go to all the Democratic events, go to the Josh Shapiro or whoever, or Newsom, or right now I'm looking at Shapiro. I like Shapiro and Newsom or even Walz, but I don't think Walz is going to run for the Democratic Party. What do you guys Who are you guys looking at? You like the way he's trolling? Yeah, he's trolling well. He is trolling well. Does Trump have the power to ban mail-in ballots in U.S. elections? Of course, I don't have either. I don't know what happened to that. Let me see if it was laundered out. See if we can get a free one. Someone had to have picked it up. Hey. U.S. News. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate that. U.S. President Donald Trump wants to ban mail-in ballots in federal elections. He said, why not, Walz? I just don't think he's... I would if he ran. I just don't think he's going to. I just don't know. I think he was going to want to stay local. Continue reading for free. What do you... Okay, 1 second. I don't know. I don't know if he'll run. Based on the assassinations really fucked him up. We'll see though. As time goes on though, and we get closer to midterms, it might light a fire. AOC, but she would get destroyed. Yeah. All right. I'm in there. At least right now. If Zoran's campaign does well, we'll see, I guess. U.S. President Donald Trump wants to ban mail-in ballots in federal elections, a form voting popular with many Americans. About 3 in 10 ballots were cast through the mail in the 2024 general election. 3 in 10 ballots, which also Donald Trump encouraged himself. Did I save that as a bookmark? I'm using this app less and less. Oh. I did. Well, I saved a tweet. Gotta get rid of it. Where's Trump? Trump mail-in. Guys excited for Call of Duty 7?
Absentee ballots are about to go out in North Carolina. In other words, it's time to start thinking about let's vote. So important. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. So whether it's mail-in ballots, early voting, voting on the day, you got to get out and vote. We want to save our country. We're the only one going to save it. That other group of people, they're going to destroy our country. We can't let that happen. Go out and vote for Trump.
Go out and vote. Go cast your ballots, mail it in, do it all. But now you can't. But now, yeah, you're not doing that. What do they say on Face the Nation?
Exactly. Well, look, this is Vladimir Putin, as usual, trying to manipulate U.S. domestic politics.
And it works because they have the worst on Trump. They have the worst. It's got to be terrible. Like worse than you can imagine, like P-tape, but like worse.
Over and over again, including at Helsinki, when he set the president off, not in the press conference, but before that, in a whole diatribe against his political enemies, because Putin deliberately asked him about this. So Putin knows that President Trump wants to have an acknowledgement of his self-assertion.
God, Trump just seems like a giant baby R word that you can just like wind up and just have like rage or just like ramble and just send it at people, and Putin knows it. They can just like weaponize this fucking blob of feces and cankle. That's what Trump is actually, and that's what JD Vance figured it out in the first Zelensky interview, that all he had to do is just get Trump wound up a little bit, and then Trump will start rambling and fucking just going whatever he wants, and Putin knows it too. That's why Putin got in the car with Trump. You don't think Vladimir Putin, who has his own people bring his shit and piss back to Russia because they don't allow he has shit and piss, boy, if you didn't know that, for real, dead ass Putin, poop and urine I'm not kidding. Putin's poop protocol. Bizarre details of, okay, like if you don't like Hindustan Times, they got a shitload of it. We can use Hindustan Times, they're fine. Russian President Putin arrived at military base in Alaska on Friday for the summit with his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump of the conflict in Ukraine. Bizarre, unconfirmed theories of Russian President Putin are not uncommon, and one of them, involving his poop, floated again amid his visit to the United States for his meeting and the counterpart Donald Trump in Alaska. Meet that took place on Saturday, but not UK. Blah blah blah. We know we were there. Russian President Putin arrived at a military base in Alaska on Friday for the summit with his counterpart Donald Trump. Reports of Putin's bodyguards collecting his poop for our fecal matter and bringing it back to Russia when the leader travels abroad surfaced again during his visit to Alaska. Originally published in 2022, a report by two veteran investigative journalists, Regis Genti and Mikhail Rubin, in the French publication Paris Match, claims that members of the Russian president's Federal Protection Service collect his human waste, including his feces, when he travels abroad. The report says Putin's excrement urine contained vital information, suggesting that the data of the Russian president's waste could be analyzed by foreign intelligence or spy agencies, giving them insight into his physical state and possibly much more. Okay? So you think the guy that has all that going on is not accidentally getting in the car with Trump like he did? Oh, they're supposed to get in separate cars. Yeah, my ass. Yeah, it's when Putin can get into his ear like worm tongue and just get this dude, just get Trump just all fired up.
That the war wouldn't have happened had he not, had he been in the presidency. And so
I bet you as soon as Putin sat down, Trump, mail-in ballots, like, or whatever, as soon as he sat down, or someone in the Kremlin had to have talked to Putin or whatever variant that they needed, or the Medusa of the Kremlin that controls all of the Putins. That, hey, that meeting, that interview with Carlson, that was bad. Hey, they had to, because he actually engaged in domestic American bullshit this time. Whereas he usually just talks about old time historical revisionist Russia shit that Americans don't even know or don't care about. But this time, what did he do? He played or I don't know if Trump told him to say it or what, but Putin played that when he said, oh, I wouldn't have invaded if this guy was the president, which maybe could be true in like a double-edged sword way, because if Trump was president, Putin didn't need to invade in terms of Trump was doing all of the work for him. Trump was destabilizing the West for Putin. But he was like an agent, like a chemical agent in there, telling NATO, we're going to pull out of NATO and all, oh my goodness. Or for the first term. So Putin could just sit back and be like, oh, this guy, the most powerful country is going to do it for me. I don't need to invade anybody. The invasion of Ukraine while Biden's president proves that Biden and the West under the Democratic president is the reason why Putin invaded. And to show strength, because they've getting destroyed. This has destroyed the Russian future to do what Putin did and invade Ukraine and destroy their military, their debt. Their economy is completely transforming into a wartime economy. They have like a few more years left before they collapse again, like the Soviet Union did. Because Putin, and that was the last resort, because Biden and the West, while not good enough, stood up against him and he invaded. Because they weren't going to have Putin do what he wanted, like whatever the hell he wanted, like Trump was okay with during his first term.
So Putin's giving him something that plays well for President Trump in his own domestic environment. It doesn't play well in the international environment where people know things are much more complicated, but it's basically a gift and a concession to President Trump himself. And Putin wants to sow chaos in the American electoral system ahead of the midterms. So of course he's laid into this whole issue of mail-in voting. And President Trump asserted in his Fox News interview that there are no countries in the world that allow mail-in voting. Well, Russia allows mail-in voting.
Even in Russia, you can vote for it's probably like, yeah, we'll take your vote, and then they throw it away and then just give Putin the win. But hey, in theory, you can mail-in vote, though. They have it. You can mail it in Russia.
And if everybody wants to go out and look, they can look for themselves. In 2020, President Vladimir Putin signed into law Russians being able to vote by mail and also on the internet. And more than 30...
Yeah, you can vote on the internet there, too. I think you can do that in Ukraine. Can't you vote on the internet in most European countries now? Can't you vote on the app? Don't you guys have an app now? I think Ukraine does. But I want to say in Europe they have an app. And I wish we could advance, but we have Republicans holding us back because they know for a fact if you have more Americans, especially these modern time Americans, these wokies, which all of us Americans my age and shit have like 4 jobs and they don't get to take off for work. So you have old boomers that are retired that want to tell us how it is out here. And we're not advancing. And we're stuck in olden day times in a lot of places. Because certain states don't want to advance, but also the federal government. Clearly, they want to destroy these opportunities to vote.
Other countries also allow some forms of mail-in voting, so it's just not true that other countries, including Russia, don't use this. It's a pure, blatant piece of manipulation, and that's the kind of thing that Putin likes to do.
Yeah, more like the fascist dictator Putin made Zelensky and Ukraine not have elections because he invaded. Nice try though, Harley dude. Nice try. Good attempt.
And of course, I don't think you would endorse the outcome of.
If you really care about Ukrainian elections, you'll be mad at Russia for continuing the invasion. If you don't want to see Zelensky's face as the president of Ukraine anymore, your energy should be directed at the cause, which is Russia's invasion.
That voting system and those elections are rigged in Russia, correct?
Of course. And I mean,
Yeah.
basically, Putin.
Yeah, of course they're rigged. It's the principle that they still have it in general. They're rigged elections, like I said. I haven't seen it. But the fact that Putin is telling Trump that mail-in voting is bad, well, he, again, has it. It's all rigged, but he has it, though, is the point, is what she's making, I think.
Wants to see us tie ourselves up in knots between now and the midterms. He's trying to sow chaos, and he's just basically used his time with President Trump to push
do
that
that.
along.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, it's a diversion, it's a distraction, really, from the negotiations on Ukraine, because Putin doesn't really want to give anything up. So he gives up basically something that plays well in the political arena for President Trump, and something that actually plays very badly for the United States in its own political arena, which is the mail-in voting.
Yep. Updated list of things that offend the radical woke right, which, by the way, that's what we're calling them. Just to catch you guys up, we're calling them the woke right, radical wokies of the right wing. That's MAGA. Zelensky's clothing, male cheerleaders, mail-in voting, bike lanes, Starbucks holiday cups, fact checkers, avocado toast, unions, windmills, pronouns, and reusable straws. Taylor Swift. What else? What else could we add to the list? What else offends the radical woke right, guys? Put it in the comments, and I'll read them off. Okay, I love this tweet. What else? There you go. What else do you have? What else do you guys? Magnets. What are they? Why are they up? The Washington Commander, the Washington football team. 2 men kissing. Yep. What else? No, what offends them? Not something they did in April. I'm talking about what offends them. Running water, science, HOAs. I think, well, I don't know. I think HOAs kind of make everyone mad, though. Yeah, I don't think anyone really likes an HOA because then they like kind of control you. And you could have like a dog shit HOA person. What else? What else we got? Rainbows. Women over 18, yeah. Or anyone over 18. Not limited to just women. Antifa. Dead. That's funny. I'm keeping that one. Trump said, here's what he said right after the meeting with Putin that caused all of this, but then he echoed it yesterday with the meeting with Zelensky.
Vladimir Putin said something, one of the most interesting things. He said your election was rigged because you have mail-in voting. He said mail-in voting, every election. He said no country has mail-in voting. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and have honest elections. And he said that to me. It was very interesting because we talked about 2020. He said, you won that election by so much. And that's how he got it. He said, and
we didn't watch that. You guys get some Trump today. We didn't watch because I tapped out. It was a long day. Is this the whole thing? Where's the whole, is the whole interview on here? Trump finally admits defeat. Did he? Well, did they take it down? Try to find it.
Okay.
Mr. President, sir, the Prime Minister of Canada is here to see you.
Mr. President, why are you placing these new tariffs on Canada? What are you, some kind of dictator from the Middle East? A dictator from the Middle East? Hey, relax, guy. I'm just your average Joe. Take a rest. The people of Canada will not be devalued like this. Hey, come on. You don't want me to bomb you like I did Iraq.
Relax, guy.
Bombed Iran, Iraq. What the hell's the difference? Relax, guy. Hey, what the fuck is this, better?
This is the painting you asked for, sir.
Why is my dick so small?
But that's the size it is in the photo.
Get this guy out of here! I'm gonna sue you! I'm gonna sue both of you! Nobody makes fun of me and gets away with it!
I can't find the full interview. I don't know if I can play the rest of that part. Oh, we're good here.
Hey, Satan!
Don't want to right now.
What? Hey, relax! Come on, Satan, I've been working hard all day!
You haven't been working, you've been doing your stupid memes and just fucking around.
Give me again.
I'm just fucking around.
Come on, Satan. You know you can't resist this.
Oh boy. It's too good. It's too good. Yeah, I can't find the full interview, so that's what you get instead. So sorry. No full Trump Hannity interview, guys. I know you're really looking forward to it. I might have a clip from it, but I don't have the full sit down. Yeah, they must, I don't know if they just didn't post it or they took it down. They have a Trump Sean Hannity interview from like 5 years ago, 6 months ago. They don't have the Trump Hannity interview from recently. Okay, there's like a clip, which is I think the same clip. No, this is the longer version. Here you go. So basically this. Here's just 2 minutes of it.
Have alone time with him.
Yeah, I did. And I did actually after our speeches. He made a very good speech, and I also finished it up. And afterwards, we spoke. Right after that, we spoke very sincerely. I think he wants to see it done. I want to see if we can get it done. You know, it's not a done deal at all. They're going to set up a meeting now between President Zelensky and President Putin. And myself, I guess, you know, I didn't.
No, this wasn't on the mail-in votes. My bad. I didn't even know what's going on, I guess. So he only just said that one bit then. Okay. Well, let's Trump and Hannity for you guys. Okay, here it was yesterday. Trump mail-in voting. Let me see if I can get that full clip from yesterday. Trump mail-in voting. There you go. Well, that's a fact check.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor.
See, it's territories.
God willing, we get peace. Are you?
Once, one that was going to go days. I'll tell you, it's an advantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made, hell, this war would have never been corrupt president.
Mr. President.
Is this the mail-in part?
I can't. Thank you so much. So first of all, we have possibility now to.
Now we got to remember when it was.
Just really quickly, mail-in ballots.
There you go. Here you go. Found it. So Trump was asked about it.
You pushed out on social media.
Brian, go first.
You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important
Well,
that is?
that's a very off-topic. Just really quickly, mail-in ballots are
Very off topic, but also on topic though for him.
corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened.
Which again, we've already fact-checked now, right? I've gone into it extensively that is just not true.
Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster.
Oh, no, you can say it's cheaper when, I mean, what's it cost to put a mail in what's it cost to put a mail in and use the USPS and get it in? How much is a stamp? What are stamps going for? I haven't mailed something in a while now. I compared to the logistics of having a voting booth in a voting center and paying workers to moderate it and have the people making sure no one is cheating or voting for other people, and also the space that you use and taxpayer money that goes into that, for sure. Yeah, definitely cost cutting.
Faster results. The machines.
You don't need a stamp on that. Okay.
They say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up.
And it's bullshit. Right, went into that yesterday, the 2005 Jimmy Carter Commission, 2005 Jimmy Carter mail-in. He already came out and said, hey, whoa. Well, this is before Jimmy Carter died, but of course people like Trump will lie after people are dead. So fact-checking Trump's claims about mail-in voting and voting machines. Where's the Jimmy Carter part? Jimmy Carter came out in 2020, even before that, and said, "Yeah, we were wrong." Basically, no, it's too much stuff. I'm just looking for Jimmy Carter. The Jimmy Carter Baker Commission 5 years later. No, 16 years later. Letter from Jimmy Carter. They had another. Oh, so Trump. Well, of course, Trump wouldn't mention this. Jimmy Carter and James A. Baker. What is this? Let me zoom in. In 2005, the United States was in its 5th year of efforts to reform its election system. The highly contested, controversial 2000 presidential election had identified flaws in the nation's registration and voting laws that were seen as contributing to lack of confidence in the election outcomes. In 2002, Congress, with input from state and local election officials and experts from all sectors of American society, responded by enacting the Help America Vote Act to address the wide range of issues identified in 2000, which people argued that Republicans cheated then too. By 2004, however, it was clear that HAVA had not settled all the arguments about election reform. State laws requiring voters to provide photo identification were generating backlash amid claims of disenfranchisement. Concerns about new voting technology were leading to fears of accounting errors, and growing numbers of absentee and mail ballots were risking concerns about the possibility of fraud. In response to these concerns, former President Jimmy Carter and former Secretary of State James A. Baker agreed to co-chair a bipartisan commission housed at Washington, D.C.'s American University to examine these and other outstanding election reform issues. The final report, titled Building Confidence in U.S. Elections, stressed the important role of elections in the nation's democracy and made a series of recommendations, including 1, a national voting system to connect state and local voter registration lists, 2, voter identification based on a universally available real ID card. Dang, they wanted to do that back in 2005? Are we just getting that now, 20 years later? Minnesota, you have to have one now, I think. I think this year is the year it was like for sure. It's been wild. Damn, 2005. Policies to improve voter access for all communities, as well as innovations like vote centers and voter information lookup sites. Stronger efforts to combat fraud, especially in absentee voting. Audible paper backups for all voting technology. 16 years later, after another fiercely fought controversial presidential election in 2020, a host of the issues that Carter Baker addressed in 2005, many of which are now familiar aspects of the American voting experience, were once again back in the news. In this environment, the Carter Center and Baker Institute set out to convene election leaders and other experts to discuss the important challenges and opportunities facing the nation's election system, and, like the original Carter-Baker Commission, seek out areas of consensus for building confidence in U.S. elections. Okay, so they looked into it again. Okay, Section 1, Election Integrity and Ballot Access. The series kicked off in April of 2021 with a session titled The Baker-Carter Commission, 16 years later, Election Integrity and Ballot Access. Okay, so they had, it was bipartisan. Susan Molinari, Republican; Sharon Priest, Democrat; Brad Raffensperger, Republican; and Maggie Toulouse Oliver, of a Democrat. Moderator Doug Chapin set the tone for the panel by emphasizing this, leading off the commission. Bipartisan approaches. Okay, just trying to skim some of this now. Maloney superior to commission members opposing views. Some members had a common belief that even if they didn't agree with every recommendation the commission made, they would work together to approve a final consensus. Okay, topic then. Where's like the discussion turn steps to be taken to problems with disinformation? Okay, let's go to, there you go. Voting by mail. Here's the main topic that we're talking about today. The second session took place on April 28th, 2021, and was titled The Carter Baker Commission 16 Years Later, Voting by Mail. The discussion focused on enabling constructive bipartisan dialogue on election reforms. The panelists were Judd Chody from Colorado State Election Director, Alice Miller, Tammy Patrick, and Kim Wyman. Moderator Doug Chapin opened the discussion by asking Wyman about aspects of the voting system in her state that might be transferable or applicable to other states. Wyman said Washington's ramp up to full-scale vote by mail in 2011 was unique because the state had 10 years to implement strategies. Prioritizing accountability and quickly building out capacities were transferable lessons. Chapin asked if the need to rapidly implement vote by mail during the 2020 electoral cycle presented challenges elsewhere. Miller focused on logistics, saying that the one thing we need to make sure of and build upon were the resources on the back end for processing these ballots. Patrick spoke about how much vote by mail systems have evolved, particularly with the increased use of vote by mail and the significant changes in postal service operations. Patrick also observed that political context had played a significant role in the debate on voting by mail, adding that the important piece of this contextualizing is the partisanship or the partisan angles and aspects that have been elevated in the past year. Prior to last year, she said vote by mail and early voting were part of the Republican strategy. Last year, however, the Republican presidential candidate questioned, it's the same thing then. Trump just did it in 2024. Use it when it's time for election and then call it into question when you win. And then don't think of the repercussions afterwards because oh, wow. I forgot they did that in 2020 too. They've probably done it in every single election. All that created really an environment where false and misleading information was allowed to percolate, the percolator, and spread to such a degree that it was weaponized against many ways in which Americans vote. Yep. I'd say 2020 was the year that propaganda in America in 1984 Orwell absolutely took hold because Americans were at home, they were scared, they know what was happening, the lockdown, lost their jobs, and then they filled in all of that with right-wing, oh my goodness, with just right-wing slop, because right-wingers will sell you that they have the answers for everything, that they have all the answers in so many different ways, whether it be religion or products or lifestyles or red pill bullshit. Like they sell you that they will get you to where you got to go, and you can only get the American dream this way. So that included a lot of lies about the election, COVID, and we're still living in that. We haven't left that really, or they haven't. So then therefore we haven't, because you talk to a Trump supporter right now and everything that they believe about the election being stolen and COVID being fake, or the vaccines being devil juice, Nancy Pelosi juice in your arm, 5G energy crystals, whatever. They believe that for real. And that's only because of the media and the right wing. But it all stems back to this too. This is all part of it. Okay, the mail-in voting, the election machines, Trump's lies about the election, it all is connected. Okay. Patrick further said that during the primaries, about 75% of voters had planned to vote by mail in the November general election, but ultimately only about 50% of voters cast their ballots by mail. That decrease, she said, was probably due to large parts of rhetoric and disinformation. But also, Trump supporters were probably like, I don't want to get made fun of on Fox News, because that's how they think. Fox News told me that voting by mail is bad, so if I do that, I'm just as bad as the people that my favorite news say are bad, so I can't do it. So then they don't. And then they feel like that's how they have to live their life because their right-wing media tells them what to do. And that's it. If the right wing doesn't have the answers, then why do they have all the good-looking women? Oh. Hold on. Oh my God, that threw me off. Oh, damn, dude, you almost took me out. Holy shit, give me a second. Okay. I don't know what to spend. I mean, to each their own. How about that? There you go. Anyways, Chapin asked panelists if voting by mail increases turnout or improves access to the ballot. Each said that it increased turnout. Patrick attributed the gain to the proactive nature of vote by mail. Miller agreed, but also noted that increases in turnout were smaller during presidential elections. Chapin, citing the Carter Baker report focused on election integrity, turned the conversation on the panelists' experiences with safeguards for the vote by mail processes. Patrick said that there are safeguards in place when citizens initially register to vote that ensure they are a true and live and accurate person. Excuse me. They are a true and live accurate person. Like it's a legit person. And that everyone who receives a ballot is authenticated against a list that has these safeguards in place. Miller agreed, adding that there is more security built into the mail balloting process than in the in-person process. Dang! Remember, this is the same commission that Trump quoted, but obviously they don't want to quote the remaster. They don't want to quote the remake. They don't want to do that. They want to quote the original, which is outdated. Outdated information. The 2005, which is why they did this. And rest in peace to Jimmy Carter. I'm glad this is one of he's Jimmy Carter, dude. He was building houses until he literally physically couldn't anymore for people. But this was a GG's for Jimmy Carter to come back and re-examine this, because obviously he probably knew that Republicans would use his commission, especially after what happened in 2020, to try to atrophy our democracy like they have been. There's more security in the mail-in balloting process than the in-person process. She also pointed out that the existing penalties for fraud are quite high, which is also facts. She discussed what are the what are they? Criminal penalties. A person could election official who in any election or federal office only are willing. Okay. This is hold on. Election crimes and civil penalties. Oh, there's like state and federal. Election crimes and security. Oh boy. Oh, now Kash Patel has my IP address. Damn it. Fuck. Damn it. Oh well, they already do. They have my fingerprint and everything. So fair elections are the foundation of our democracy, and the FBI is committed to protecting the rights of all Americans to vote. The U.S. Okay, blah 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 blah. Voter suppression. Okay, threats against election workers. What's the jail time? Do I have to ask ChatGPT this question? Watch, I'll get a better answer out of my AI than I will. What are the penalties for voting fraud in prison time? and fees. ChatGPT, tell me. Google searches are too slow. Penalties for voter fraud in the U.S. vary state by state and the specific offense, but is always treated as a serious crime. Here's a breakdown. Federal penalties up to 5 years in prison or fines up to $10,000 under federal law. Here's the citation. Thank you. See how fast that was? And wasting time Googling things like it's like I'm a millennial or something. 52 U.S. Code, prohibited acts. So here's the code that it falls under. Cornell Law School. Okay, we'll just keep that up. Federal charges typically apply if fraud crosses state lines or involves federal elections. State penalties, common ranges. Each state sets its own penalties, but most classify voter fraud as felony. Here are the examples. In Texas, up to 20 years in prison and $10,000 fine for illegal voting. In Florida, up to 5 years in. Damn, dude. Yeah, you're in prison. In Texas, you're losing a giant chunk of your life if you have voter fraud there. Florida, 5 years in prison and $5,000 fine. California, up to 3 years in prison and $10,000 fine. In my home state, Minnesota, up to 5 years in prison and $10,000 fine. Wow, look at woke California and Minnesota locking you up for voting fraud. Wow, so woke. Types of fraud that carry penalties: voting more than once, impersonating another voter, registering or voting when ineligible, which is example like a non-citizen, felony disenfranchisement in some states, submitting false registration forms, or tampering with ballots, which that one happens, I think, the most, actually, where like you had some freak maggots go and destroy ballot collection boxes in 2020. And looks like ChatGPT gives us a reality check too, I guess. Cases of voter fraud are rare, but when prosecuted, they usually result in felony convictions, which also strip people of voting rights in many states. So it's like you get a penalty, you go to prison, you pay a fine, and you can't vote again. And you can't vote again. Doesn't matter, you can't vote again. What do you mean it means nothing? Do you want me to make a state-by-state penalty charge? Yes. Yes, I would. Thank you. Thank you for offering such a nice thing for us. I love this. So much faster. All right, let's get straight to it. Here's a clear and practical snapshot of voter fraud penalties in the U.S. Okay, California. Courts may impose up to $1,000 for misdemeanors, up to $25,000 for felonies, on top of jail time. Because some of y'all in the chat were like, yeah, but that's the maximum. What's the minimum? You have to pay money, and you're going to jail, and you can't vote again because it's a felony. So you lose your right. You lose your right to vote. What else do you want him to do? Do you want him to go to the gulag and do physical labor? What do you want? What's the other penalty? Exactly. I know. You will. If it's a felony, you can't vote. Felons can't vote. I don't know. Maybe can felons vote in certain states for local elections? I think they can. Maybe not. Let's ask ChatGPT. That's the magic conch. Can felons vote in certain? Nope. It knows what I'm asking, thank God. Only one state? You bet. It's a real important question. Yes, felons in the U.S. can vote in many states. States with no... Okay. Maine and Vermont allow individuals to vote even while incarcerated. Okay. Maine and Vermont, you can vote while you're in jail. In 23 states, voting rights are automatically restored once incarceration is over. Oh, even my home state. California, Colorado, Illinois, New York, Pennsylvania, Washington, and more. States that require completing supervision. You got to complete your parole. Okay, so some states are advancing beyond that. And you can vote again. Not all, though. Not all states. Most states reinstate voting rights at some point post-incarceration or after full sentence completion. A few states still impose lifelong or highly restrictive rules requiring gubernatorial or court action to restore voting rights, like Virginia. Like, which ones? Which states still have... Which states still have lifelong restrictions? Florida, of course, Iowa, Kentucky, red states. Okay, well, okay, in Florida it's specific though. People convicted of murder or sexual offenses are permanently barred. Okay, that's fine for me. Everyone else can regain rights after completing all terms of their sentence. But the process has been inconsistent. Iowa, lifetime disenfranchisement in the state constitution. Rights may only be restored by the governor. Damn, you're cooked in Iowa. You're cooked forever. Kentucky, you're done. There's no specifics. Mississippi, certain felony convictions cause permanent loss of voting rights unless restored by a governor's pardon or bill passed by legislature. In Virginia, the state constitution imposes a lifetime ban. Rights can only be restored by the Damn! You gotta appeal to the governor personally. That sucks. Permanent disenfranchisement for some offenses. Others require going through a rights restoration process that often includes paying all court costs, restitution, and child support. Wyoming, a lifetime ban for people convicted of certain felonies unless restored by the governor. First-time, non-violent felonies may get automatic restoration, but violent or repeat offenders do not. Oh, I mean that one's reasonable. I think that one's in terms of like, yeah, I think Wyoming is reasonable. If they're like a repeat, I mean, yeah, what the fuck would you want them to engage? Why would you want like a repeat violent offender engaging in politics? Unless it's the Republicans and they're fine with it. But like the rest of us, automatic lifetime bans are rare, but Iowa, Kentucky, Virginia, and Mississippi still have them in the strictest of sense. Florida, Tennessee, and Wyoming impose lifetime bans depending on the type of offense. Everyone else restores rights. Do you want me to make you a... No, I'm good. Thanks, ChatGPT. You did great. Thanks for tapping in. Anyways, back to voting fraud and the penalties in Connecticut. Okay, just get a couple $100, it looks like. 1 to 2 years. Florida. So there's real world cases for context. Here you go. Here's some real world cases. Texas, Crystal Mason, the 2016 case, sentenced to 5 years in prison for casting a provisional ballot while on federal supervised release, just by claiming she didn't know she was ineligible. Her conviction was overturned in 2023, but the DA is appealing. She was sentenced to prison for voting. Her story is part of a Republican effort to intimidate others. It was the day of the... Damn, it's like a whole story. In a world where nothing mattered, it was the day of the full solar eclipse. Like, dang, dude. You just... Cliff's Notes. I'm certain these prosecutions of individuals with felony convictions instill fear. Okay, what's the details? In Mason, 49, and okay, she was barefoot. Let's just read it. It was the day of the full solar eclipse in the outskirts of Fort Worth last April, and Crystal Mason was trying just for a second to relax. She was barefoot, her feet curled up on the big leather lazy boy sofa, eating 2 of the turkey sandwiches she prepared for lunch for her family. Her granddaughter Courtney was turning 5 that weekend, and Mason was getting everything in place for a princess-themed party. Mason had every reason to celebrate. Just a few weeks earlier, a Texas appeals court had thrown out her 5-year prison sentence for voter fraud. Mason had been fighting the charge ever since 2017 when she was arrested for trying to cast a provisional ballot while ineligible to vote. She always said she did not know she could not vote and would not have tried to cast a ballot if she had known. Mason had been convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Texas woman sentenced to 5 years over voting error. Here's more of the story. The Texas Appeals Court has thrown out a 5-year prison sentence for Crystal Mason, a Texas woman who was sentenced for trying to cast a provisional ballot in the 2016 presidential election that was rejected. Mason, well, that was rejected. And okay, there you go, MAGA. Number 1, the vote didn't count. Number 2, she was found and tried and also sentenced to prison. She had it overturned because it seems like bullshit, but she still had her vote didn't count. That shit was denied, but yet you still get in trouble for it. Contrary to the right-wing propaganda that tell you got all types, you got dead people voting. Yeah, right. Never believe that. Everything they say is a bullshit, dude. Everything you hear a right-wing media say is just automatically just bullshit. Not even worth going into. Mason, now 49, attempted to vote in the Fort Worth in 2016, even though she was ineligible because she was still on a supervised release, which is like probation for a tax felony. She had always maintained that she had no idea she was ineligible and only tried to well, that goes back to the... Doesn't that go back to the Texas law or like that there's certain cases that... No, where's the... Where did I read that Texas part? I just read it earlier. And in Vermont. Oh, here, yeah. States that require completing supervision. So maybe she thought, yeah, I can see how she could have been confused here. Because in Texas, you can, after you finish your parole probation, I don't know, she was still on it though. Where is it? Where'd that story go now? Oh, supervised release, which is, it's like probation, but it isn't. So yeah, supervised release and probation are two different things. Okay, so I can see how she could be confused. But regardless, her vote didn't count. Like the vote didn't matter anyways. Like it was the system was able to detect that she is ineligible. And then not only that, it was like denied prison time, felony too. So you get in trouble for it. But even though she didn't, it wasn't on purpose. But obviously there are people that do exist, onesie and twosies. There isn't like a massive amount of people committing this, but there are people that do engage in the voter fraud. So it's important to call them out and catch them, or not call them out, but the system will catch them. But people like Mason, Crystal Mason, it was a mistake. But even mistakes, you guess what? Still going to jail. Still was in jail. A judge convicted her in a 2018 trial that lasted a few hours. Probation officials testified at the trial that they never told her she was... Well, there's another factor. The probation officials never told her she couldn't vote because she was on supervised release. Okay. Well, we don't need to look into this case. I'm glad that she got it overturned. But there's like one case. Georgia, GOP official illegally voted 9 times. Weird. Oh, weird. A Republican did it? And only fined $5,000? That's it? Brian Pritchard, first vice president of the state party, voted in 9 elections while on probation for the 1996 forgery felony conviction. An official in the Georgia Republican Party who said the 2020 election was stolen in order to pay a $5,000 fine will receive a public reprimand for voting illegally 9 times. Wow. Damn, dude. What is the Georgia? Yeah, well, yeah, look at how he got away. You're supposed to have up to 1 to 10 years in prison and a fine up to 100,000. So he should be like 10 years in prison and owe 6 figures, but he got slapped on the wrist. Because Republicans looking out for yeah, Trump's looking out. Jesus, dude. Okay, so there you got a GOP official voting 9 times in the election after crying that there's people voting multiple times. What else? Alabama, weird. David Cole is an American politician from Alabama. He served in the Alabama House of Representatives. He was sentenced to 60 days in prison for electoral fraud. His bond was $2,500. Slap on the wrist. Tina Peters, election official, sentenced up to 9 years in prison plus thousands of fines for election tampering. Who's this? Tina Marie Peters is an American politician who served as county clerk of Mesa County, Colorado from 2019 to 2023. However, in 2021, she was temporarily suspended by the Colorado Secretary of State. Peters is the first election official in the U.S. convicted of criminal charges related to efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election, predicated on conspiracy theories regarding the legitimacy of Donald Trump's defeat. In August of wow. Yeah. They all, I mean, you got the one case of it's just all projection. Peters, a member of the Republican Party. Boy, they're guilty of their own accusations. Most only all the time. Only most of the time, which is like 99%. Only in modern times. So that's Trump. Donald Trump vows to end mail-in ballots.
New this morning, President Trump announcing he plans to sign an executive order to end mail-in voting. He made the announcement earlier this morning on Truth Social. He claims mail-in ballots and voting machines are more susceptible to voter fraud, even though that evidence is limited. President Trump wants to pass the executive order before next year's midterm elections. Fox 13's John Hopperstad breaking it down this morning with the Seattle University professor. Good morning.
Yeah, Bill, good morning. I'm here with political science professor Patrick Shabner to talk about President Trump's announcement here. Thanks for being with us. Of course, Washington, one of several states that does have mail-in voting. And I think in the last election, presidential election, we were having around 78% voter turnout, which is pretty high across the nation. What would is this even legal for him to take this measure?
Well, no. I would tweak what you said a little bit first off. Washington is one of the few states with vote by mail only, but every state has some sort of absentee or vote by mail sort of provision. So this is something that would impact every state. But long story short, no, the president doesn't really have any authority on this at all. The Constitution specifically vests each state with control over the electoral system, although it does.
And then there's another attack on the states' rights. He's been doing it in California, but the Republicans don't care because California is woke and blue hair people, right? They don't care. That's blue people live there. I don't give a shit. But wait, this is every single state. But you're gonna have the right wingers that have been voting by mail after they're gonna play a game. They're gonna play a dangerous game by I guess I just won't vote. I guess I just can't vote then because it's more important to keep up my bias and keep up my political narrative of mail-in voting bad, so I guess I can't vote this year. Oh, sorry, liberals. Yeah, take that, liberals. That's where we're gonna be, and when this if Trump really does attempt this, which he will lose hard, and also give more energy to the protest every month that happens against him. So that'll be great.
Let's say Congress can pass laws that can influence rules around federal elections.
And right now, Republicans control both houses of Congress, Senate and House. Could they conceivably do this, pass something here and change this?
No, unless they killed the filibuster, they would need to get 60 votes. Democrats are not going to go along with this. It is possible they could try to blow up the filibuster over this, but I think if they were going to kill the filibuster, it'd be over something more significant than electoral reform.
Now,
I don't know, though. The Republicans have been attacking the election system because that's what we do to go elect the politicians into power. It's what democracy is. So they've been attacking that. So I don't know about leaving that one out.
Predicted a move like this.
Maybe not it could be one of the most important things. That is I mean, what else do we do to go elect people? That's what we do. We vote. So what is more important, honestly? The policies, but the policies only happen by voting the people in. It's like kind of the origin point before you even get the politician to do stuff for you.
before with Trump. He's talked about this in the past, but he's only floated the idea of requiring mail-in ballots to arrive on election days instead of just being postmarked. Is it fair to call today's announcement an overreach here of his power?
This is a drum he's been beating for a while. Interestingly, if you saw the interview he had after the meeting with Putin, he talked about talking about this with Putin, and I think this might be where that idea is coming from. This is definitely something that's not within presidential power, though.
Yeah, well, that alone to a lot of people would be kind of troubling if he's taking advice on elections from Vladimir Putin. It's not just President Trump, though. In the past, Republicans have expressed interest in getting rid of mail-in voting over election fraud concerns, and that comes up a lot. But are those concerns valid? Is there really any evidence out there that we have seen widespread election fraud through the mail?
No. The vote by mail does have concerns around it, but voter fraud is not one of them in particular. States that adopt vote by mail only in particular, like Washington, like Oregon, like California, have very robust checks. You have to sign it, and it's tested against historic signatures. You may have had your signature challenged in the past, so they have lots of obstacles to prevent fraudulent voting, and all the evidence we have suggests that it's almost non-existent.
The Secretary of States that we've had that oversee elections here in Washington, both Republican and Democrat, have said our system here, at least in Washington State with mail-in, is one of the safest and most viable voting systems in the country.
Yes. So the way we do it here in King County, which is the facility I'm most familiar with, all the machines that tabulate the votes are offline in a secured center in a facility designed by the same people who designed the safes in Las Vegas. So it is as secure a facility as we can have.
Now, we just talked about the presidential election. We had about 78% voter turnout. Midterm elections usually don't get as many voters as a presidential election, obviously. But do you believe this could significantly impact voter turnout this year?
Generally, when you threaten something that people like, people tend to react to that. So we could see, if there is a push towards curtailing vote by mail, we could see places that use vote by mail have a little bit of an uptick in turnout.
You believe that even if we did overturn voting by mail in our state, we'd still see a pretty good voter turnout because of the outrage that would create, right?
Well, outrage would be part of it, but also places like Washington that adopt vote by mail reform, they really care about getting people to show up to the vote. And so Washington has a long tradition of high voter turnout, and I think we would see that play out regardless of the voting mechanism we use.
All right, we will see what happens. Patrick, thanks again for being with us this morning.
Anytime.
Glad to have you.
Okay, so that's Washington explaining it's bipartisan. It's bipartisan support for the mail-in system because it benefits Republicans too. You got Texas Democrats are staying overnight. So, hey, what's going on?
And allowing us to be part of this.
It's getting loud. Well, protests inside the House chamber. There's 37 people watching this. Turn the camera. So Texas is doing the redistricting. Okay, let's see why this is happening. Okay, so let's look up Texas Democrats quick and see what they're doing to fight the Texas Democrats. Texas state lawmaker ready for a legal battle over. Okay, hold on. Texas Democrats. Oops. Sleepover. Or sleep. Oh, this sleepover. Fuck it. We've had enough news. 24-hour mark on the House floor. Texas Democratic State Representative Nicole Collier. Is she the one who's on Twitter when you got the photo of her sleeping in there? I saw that. I didn't know what that was, but now I guess I do. I think there's a picture of her sleeping. I refuse to sign. I will not agree to be in DPS custody. I am not a criminal. I am exercising my right to resist and oppose the decisions of our government. This is a form of protest. Representative State Collier. There you go. Got a photo of her sleeping. Holding it down. Why is this happening, though? Representative Nicole Collier has officially been locked in the Texas House chamber for over 24 hours. Republicans say she cannot leave until she signs a permission slip, agreeing to be under 24/7 police surveillance for 3 weeks. What the fuck, bro? Refusing GOP demand for law enforcement escort. Texas Democratic State Representative Nicole Collier spent over 24 hours in the Texas House floor in protest after refusing a Republican demand to be placed under watch of the State Department of Public Safety. When Texas House Democrats returned to the Capitol in Austin on Monday after having fled the state earlier this month in order to prevent a vote on a controversial Republican redistricting plan, House Speaker Dustin Burrows put constraints on their movements. Burrows announced that the Democrats could only leave the House floor if they received written permission and agreed to be under law enforcement escort until the chamber What the fuck, bro? Hell nah. What is that? Dude, fuck that. Holy. So they're under like what? House arrest? Jeez. What is happening? The Democrats who skipped out on previous attempts to meet quorum for a special session to approve the redrawn congressional maps will have a around-the-clock DPS escort to ensure their presence when the House convenes Wednesday. Democrats fled to blue states, including Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts, as they face civil arrest warrants pushed by GOP officials in Texas to force them back into the House chamber. The majority of the Democrats complied with the law enforcement escort, showing reporters that what they called permission slips they received to leave the House floor and pointing to the officers escorting them around the Capitol. But Collier refused to enter into that agreement and had been confined to the House floor since returning. She could only leave the floor to return to her office under the watch of a law enforcement officer and an aide, and cannot leave the state capitol unless she agrees to outside supervision. State Reps Gene Wu and Vince Perez, who signed the permission slips to leave with a police escort yesterday, stayed on the House floor with Collier throughout the night, the aide said. Representative Perez left early this morning, but Wu remained in the House chamber with Collier. Wu posted a photo on X on Monday detailing some of their snacks for the long stretch ahead: dried peaches, freeze-dried grapes, popcorn, and ramen. My constituents sent me to Austin to protect their voices and rights. I refuse to sign away my dignity. And as a duly elected representative, just so Republicans can control my movements and monitor me with police escorts. My community is majority minority, and they expect me to stand up for their representation. When I press that button to vote, I know these maps will harm my constituents. I won't just go along quietly with their intimidation or their discrimination. So someone in the Democratic Party that's actually, standing up to Republican fascism right now. Does she have a Twitter? You said she posted. You said, where's the post? I don't think, does she even have a Twitter, an X account? Or what platform is she on? Yeah, Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett make posts, but as a former state representative, let me be clear, locking Representative Nicole Collier inside the House chamber is beyond outrageous. Forcing elected officials to sign permission slips and take police escorts to leave, that's not procedure. That's some old Jim Crow playbook. Texas Republicans have lost their damn minds. So that's what we're looking. Oh, it just ended. Well, that's what we were looking at for a couple minutes. I don't know if they're going to move or what. Here's some views from just like 20 minutes ago.
What I do want to make sure that people recognize is that there are other colleagues that are currently en route here to the Capitol to also join us in solidarity in making sure to also stay overnight with Representative Collier as well.
Yeah, do something. There you go. Why is it like one or two people that decide though? They're doing it in solidarity, but the ones that left should all be doing what she's doing. Not a single one of those Democrats should have signed a permission slip. They all should be doing what she's doing. Nicole Collier. So they had a protest out there, and live event ended. So we'll see if it if that does come back or what's going on there. Let me see here. Oh, games commented. Was it any good? They show any games? Call of Duty, Call of Skibbity. Ooh, new Indiana Jones. Oh man, I'm playing that. Can't wait. New Indiana Jones. Let me see here. Midas Touch posted her, you guys said? On there, is it on Twitter? You guys should, if you're on this website still, just follow me and tag me and stuff. If you see it on here.
Late, but I did not want y'all to think that I wasn't weighing in, and you could see.
New York Post posted an hour ago. Texas Democrat Representative Nicole Collier called herself a political prisoner for turning down escort after redistricting stunt. Yeah, but what is it on Twitter? It's the Midas Touch. They post a lot, so okay, that interview yesterday. Yeah, it's a lot of content. But there's so much happening, so I don't know where if you guys she's on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. You guys should follow me. We're gonna watch the Black Ops reveal at some point here during this stream. Just to see how actual bad it is. We'll see. We'll watch it at the end. I thought he was playing Battlefield 6 for a second. I was about to log back in right now. I'm kidding. He had a White House press briefing today. I guess we could watch that in a second. Want to see if I'm getting everything on Texas first here. This is happening right now. I'm glad I'm caught up on this because I've seen it on Twitter and I didn't know what exactly was all happening with this. She stayed overnight. So she's going to be staying in there until tomorrow then. Tomorrow, well, yeah, tomorrow we'll have a stream about the Texas maps, the maps. As Gavin Newsom will say, the maps. But Texas is going ahead with it. But look at the hypocrisy. I have this saved for you. I have this saved. Where is it? Of, this is clownery. What the Democrats have done is disgraceful and potentially illegal. Listen to this from the guy that's doing it in Texas. And I just want to, this is Republicans right here.
And so what the Democrats have done is disgraceful and potentially illegal. I'll tell you this much. If California dares to try to squeeze out more Republicans, there are going to be lawsuits that will overturn that. What I can tell you in the state of Texas, the 5 Republican seats that we are adding, they are going to withstand legal challenges, and those will be Republican members added to the United States Congress.
Yeah, so our cheating is going to be successful, whereas their cheating is going to be challenged in court, and their cheating is bad. Yeah, only we can do it. Only we can do gerrymandering and add more Republicans. What just an absolute, no wonder why he's like that. God made him like that. That's why. Wonder why he's sitting like that? God did it to him because he is how he is. There you go. Thanks, God. Meanwhile, Kathy Hochul, I wonder how the comments are on this one. Starting this school year, free breakfast, free lunch, no questions asked. That's how we set our kids up for success. Oh, that's great. Mirroring Minnesota a little bit with the school lunch program for kids. This is going to go over well with Trump supporters. They want their kids to be successful in school, right? It's not free. Hardworking taxpayers paid for it. There is no such thing as free. Feeding kids is the parents' responsibility, not the purpose of my taxes. When did this expectation change? Can't their parents pay for their kids' food? Why is this the responsibility of the state? Send my money to the Middle East and the military instead, not the kids. Fuck the kids. Because when you really break it down, when they like, what are they okay with spending our money on actually? Not our youth, not the infrastructure, not the education system for sure. They hate that one the worst. Nothing that will benefit America or the foundation of our country. It's all money to, was it Israel? They don't like that apparently anymore either, I guess. What do they want? What do they want? Who knows? Yeah, not healthcare. I feed my kids. Now I have to feed everyone else's too. How's that fair? Yeah. How's that fair? I have to feed all these other kids. All these kids that get to eat. What? Anyways, MAGA are legit crying about kids getting food at school, and they want you to believe they're the pro-life based. Surely the pro-life people want the children fed since they're forcing people to have them, no? Oof, that's the one. That's the one. Okay, you're back to MAGA comment. Free sex hormones, gender meds, sex changes, cross-dressing, parental knowledge blocked, all free in Hochul schools. I don't think people understand how many kids rely on school lunch for the bulk of their daily food across the entire country, literally. You know, I took it like there was they had when I was in school, they had the adventure connection. That's what they called it. But that was when kids that, you know, had their parents either worked early or whatever reason, you know, they were dropped off, and then they had to put money into the account though still. Now, at least in Minnesota, you got the food for the kids that the state provides now. But when I was going to school, you didn't have that, but you still had the opportunity to drop your kids off at school early so they could have breakfast. And I would actually ask to be dropped off early because I didn't mind the school breakfast. I liked that the most anyways. I liked having the eggs and the sausage and the French toast. So they gave you better food for the breakfast than the other. Because I went to public school, okay? I went public school. No private, nothing here. Full public school, no homeschool, nothing. Got all these different types of schooling these days. Well, I went to the public school. And the breakfast was good, but you had to get there early, but the parents still had to put money on the books for it. But now I like the option that the state provides, because your taxpayer money is going to go to wherever the fuck they decide anyways. I'd rather have it go to the kids or the public programs than private companies or Israel. No, giving them free stuff doesn't teach them to be responsible. They will be, what the fuck is this take, brother? Tom P. Yeah, this is a pick yourself up by your bootstraps guy. Yeah, tell those kids to pick themselves up by their boots. Anyways, so I'll take for MAGA on the kids because they're the ones that like force that. By yeah, Republicans when a child get a free meal. It's the best gif ever. Oh boy. Goodness. So angry. So upset. Dang, dude. Can't the kids have some food? You gotta already sit in that public school sucks. You gotta sit in there until 3 o'clock every day. And boy, would I be looking at the clock. Oh my God, dude. That's most of my trauma in school was sitting there just looking at the clock waiting for it to end. The worst fucking thing ever. So the best thing you can do is give the kids food so at least they have the energy to sit in that thing. Because who the hell wants to sit in that? Actually. Not me. I didn't want to. I was mid at school. I hated it. I liked it and hated it. Anyways, Nazi Barbie time. Let's see what
3.5 years.
Oops. Let's see her lies today. Okay. As I don't feel like tuning into this shit live anymore. What the hell happened? Yeah, I don't feel like tuning into this live, so here's Nazi Barbie's takes today on the world and Trump.
What we've witnessed President Trump accomplish over the last few days has been nothing short of remarkable. We are now 3.5 years into the war between Russia and Ukraine, a brutal conflict that has claimed hundreds of thousands of Russian and Ukrainian lives and cost trillions of dollars. The weakness and incompetence.
Charlotte says, had to cancel membership, rent raised, one income home. Oh, don't even worry about it. No, I appreciate you for being here. All good. I got rid of the most expensive ones anyway, so I'm hoping that people that were paying the higher fee, now that they have like much less, maybe they can gift some out or something at some point. Don't feel obligated though. I'm kidding. Become a member to support the stream, but don't feel bad. I'm just glad you're here.
Of Joe Biden foolishly allowed the killing to start in the first place. Until President Trump returned to office in January, the bloody and broken Biden status quo was to endlessly force American taxpayers to fund Ukraine no matter the cost, no matter how long it takes, and no matter...
Well, I mean, try this. I'm trying something. Give me a press... Give me a press briefing monologue like I'm Caroline Leavitt. Nice. Good afternoon. President Trump is delivering results for the American people while his opponents continue to peddle distractions and falsehoods. Let's be very clear. Under this administration, America is safer, stronger, and more prosperous. The media and the Democrats want to drag this country backward with endless investigations, manufactured outrage, and political theater. But President Trump is focused on what matters: securing our borders, lowering costs for families, unleashing American energy, and keeping our nation out of unnecessary wars. You'll hear critics try to spin lies, but the facts are undeniable. President Trump is putting America first again. He's restoring common sense to the government, standing up to global elites, and delivering the forgotten men and women of this country. The choice before the American people is simple: a president who fights every day for you, or a political class that fights only for itself. And this administration will never apologize for defending the interests of hardworking Americans over the failed ideals of the Washington establishment. I could do that every day and make so much money off these right-wingers, but then I would sell my soul. So there's a AI-generated monologue that sounds just like Caroline Leavitt, because that's what they do. You think they're writing this shit? You think she's going up there and writing her? Like, no, that's not happening. You got Stephen Chung doing AI-generated... Stephen Chung, this dude, the thumb. Type it into ChatGPT. Hey, give me right-wing stuff, and then make it Caroline Leavitt, and then they give it to her, and then she goes up there. That's all it is. Okay, there you go. You want to go, just do it back. That's what if anything, that could be what Newsom's team is doing. Probably not using AI, because they have some wit with that, and they have access to Hollywood people and writers, so they got that going for them. But beyond that, I mean, you could be anyone could be a right-wing propagandist. It's not hard. Just say a bunch of bullshit. Say a bunch of slogans and a bunch of hot topic, whatever right-wingers are feeling at the time, and then make it, and then have it ChatGPT give you monologue, and then go live, and then now you're a red pill power grifter. And you can make millions
of dollars. The weakness and incompetence.
Anyways, the actual model, now that you heard that, and that you can see an AI can generate exactly what Caroline Leavitt does to a T. Now here it is for real.
Everybody, good afternoon. How are you? Good to see all of you.
Thank you, Dubsy.
What we've witnessed President Trump
Thank you,
accomplish over the last few days has been nothing short of remarkable. We are now 3.5 years into the war between Russia and Ukraine, a brutal conflict that has claimed hundreds of thousands of Russian and Ukrainian lives and cost trillions of dollars. The weakness and incompetence of Joe Biden foolishly allowed the killing to start in the first place. Until President Trump returned to office in January, the bloody and broken Biden status quo was to endlessly force American taxpayers to fund Ukraine no matter the cost, no matter how long it takes, and no matter how many lives were lost. There is no denying that Biden's America Last foreign policy moved the world further away from peace.
Yeah, I think she has a child coming along.
President Trump rejected that failed approach and instead, over the last 7 months, has relentlessly pursued peace throughout his second term. And thanks to President Trump's efforts, we finally have movement after years of deadly gridlock. On Friday, as you all know, many of you were there, President Trump hosted Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Oh, they provide images like you're at a...
in Anchorage, Alaska, for a bilateral meeting.
Trump is definitely taking those TVs with him. Every single piece of gold in the Oval Office, all of that, it's all being taken with. They ain't keeping any of that in there.
This was the first time...
Which, good. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But that's just how, watch, those big flat screens they got there. We ain't leaving those for these libs because they know damn well they ain't winning again. Unless they lie or cheat and steal. That's the only way, which they're trying to. But if they continue, obviously we're going to literally have a swing to the other side. That's how it's going to work here. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're in a pendulum right now. A pendulum, because then the Democrat will win and then right-wing propaganda will take it to level 13. And then you'll have a bunch of Americans that put their hand on the stove again and that are lied to, and then we'll do it again. Watch. This is what's going to happen.
President Putin has...
That is, again, if we have elections, and if Donald Trump doesn't do what he wants, which is to keep himself in power. That's if all this goes... So that's the situation I feel like we're going to be in. Pendulum or Trump trying to keep himself in power.
Been to the United States since 2015, and the first time he has met with an American president in years. President Putin publicly confirmed what President Trump has said all along. The war between Russia and Ukraine never would have started in the first place if President Trump were in office.
Yeah, Putin said it, so it's true.
Always obvious to any person with a shred of common sense. Just look at what took place during the last 4 administrations. Under George W. Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under Barack Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under Joe Biden, Russia invaded Ukraine. But under President Trump, Russia did not invade nor take anything.
Which again, because Trump was weak and Trump was atrophying the West and weakening the West for Putin as the American president. Love your content. Can we also talk about how Trump is hiring people to assess museums like the Smithsonian because he doesn't like that and they say slavery is bad? Thank you for all you do. It's messing with the museums, huh? Makes sense. We can look into it.
President Trump is the only president this century, Republican or Democrat, who has held Russia in check and ensured peace in Europe. That's because Russia has always greatly respected President Trump and his peace through strength foreign policy approach. But overall, the bilateral talks in Alaska were very productive, and multiple key points were agreed to between the two leaders that truly opened up the door for phase 2 discussions, which took place yesterday here at the White House. Within 48 hours of that meeting in Anchorage, I may add. As you all know, there were many European leaders here, as well as Ukrainian President Zelensky. They all traveled here to meet with President Trump to maintain the momentum and work toward a lasting peace. Across the board, every leader credited President Trump for his decisive leadership that has reignited the dialogue in hopes of finally bringing this war to a peaceful conclusion. 2 quotes in particular capture the progress that was made and the optimism moving forward. Finnish President Alexander Stubb said, "I think in the past 2 weeks, we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we have had in the past 3.5 years."
Anyways, so let me play this for you really quick. This popped into my head. It's just noises coming from her. Oh, it's right. Oh, Trump. This guy is so goddamn funny, bro. All right, this is actually the what I'm going to show you. Hold on. This guy is just making me laugh so hard. Wait, hold on.
Oh, me, he said, bro, every time I step foot up my house, little undocumented kid will come bang me across my head, steal my motherfucking Bentley. And another person called me, this was a Democrat by the way. He said, Donnie, thank you for securing the city because every time I try to go out and walk my dog, they steal my dog. Just to
steal my dog. Hold on, I gotta find the one I saved for you. Where is it? Saved. Funny videos for stream. There you go. Got that one.
I see you decided to wear a suit this time. Oh, you got jokes. From what I can tell, that's the same suit you had on the last time I was here. Is that right? Yeah, I noticed. Matter of fact, you got the same stain on that left pocket. That's crazy. You don't even wash your shoes, do you? Yeah, nasty ass nigga. Y'all really don't be taking baths out here, huh? I'm at war and I find time to wash my ass. Boy, go get you some money. Why you here talking crazy? Why you laughing?
Why you laughing?
Fat ass red tie. Why you got that? I'm just playing with you, girl. I'm just playing. We got business to do. You ain't roll out no red carpet for me. Put your tie on the ground. Let me walk on it. Bitch ass nigga. I got this letter I want to give to you. It ain't for you. It's for your wife. I see you decided to wear.
Oh my god, dude! I watch these reels at 3 a.m, and these get me through. These get me through it. Okay, tell you right now, I'm just up at 3 a.m. Probably, I don't know if people are walking in the hallway. I'm just dying laughing, like in my room watching this shit. This guy is so goddamn funny. Anyways, Zelensky did that though, but you know for a fact that was Zelensky. That's why he's just, even in the first time, you already know Zelensky had some heat for him, but he can't give it. He can't do it because he's got to be president, but Zelensky's a comedian at heart, at first and foremost. So Zelensky could absolutely roast the hell out of everyone in there. And he finally let one out on the guy he needed to, which was Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend.
Again, that is the president of Finland, a country that shares a border with Russia. That's what we call the President Trump effect. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte also summed it up well. Without President Trump, this deadlock with Putin would not have been broken. He is the only one who could do this. Following the encouraging conversations yesterday, President Trump spoke with President Putin by phone, and he agreed to begin the next phase of the peace process, a meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky, which would be followed, if necessary, by a trilateral meeting between President Putin, President Zelensky, and President Trump.
A trilat.
As the president said, Vice President Vance, Secretary Rubio, and Special Envoy Witkoff will continue to coordinate with Russia and Ukraine to make this happen as soon as possible. It's very important to remember that before President Trump's landslide victory last November, there was no end in sight to this bloodshed. Now, there may finally be light at the end of the tunnel and an opportunity for lasting peace.
Really?
That's because President Trump is the peace president, and American leadership is back on the world stage.
For sure.
It should not be lost on anyone in this room that world leaders are coming right here to Washington, D.C. for help.
Yeah.
While previous presidents have traveled halfway around the world to apologize for America, President Trump stands up for America and
to apologize for what? What?
Has firmly restored America's status as the undisputed leader of the free world.
Yeah, we're the undisputed champion of the world. Yeah. Unlike the weak ass the world leaders would come here during Trump's golfing. Old Biden, who couldn't walk and talk, would go and travel and go to all the countries, which he did. By the way, that's why that debate, he was so fucked because he just came from Europe. And then I was like, why was Biden why did they schedule whatever? He stayed home from one of them. And then he had to go because he was in Europe like all the time because of Ukraine. You go there like every week, at least once a week, to work with the allies and contact groups. Do you know why? Because the war is happening in Europe. That's why.
However, one thing that has absolutely not changed is the media's negative and downright false coverage of President Trump and his foreign policy.
Yeah, President Trump is right.
The accomplishments. From the beginning of this entire process, much of the left-wing media has been actively rooting against the President of the United States in the pursuit.
It's matching my AI-generated dialogue so far. Or is it? Trump is putting America first, standing up to the Democrats. Or is the media and Democrats. There you go. Second paragraph of my AI-generated Caroline Levitt monologue. So she's on track. She's still on track. AI didn't put the Ukraine part in this. Beyond that, we're still there.
Pursuit of peace. Initially, the media ridiculously claimed that President Trump was somehow beholden to Russia for even agreeing to have a face-to-face discussion with President Putin inside of the United States. The media said President Trump was making a grave mistake by, quote, legitimizing Putin. They were aghast that President Trump would treat another world leader like a world leader. The media relentlessly attacked President Trump and claimed he suffered a, quote, major defeat for not immediately emerging with a final agreement, even though he said heading into that meeting, this was a meeting to listen and to understand how to move the ball forward.
This was a meeting for a meeting.
All weekend following those historic...
Even though that's not true, because MAGA and Trump were like, he's the peacetime president. He solved 6 wars. He's going to solve this too. Watch. No one can bring Putin in. No, Biden could never. Biden could never do this.
U.S.-Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless pundits on television trying but failing to claim that the president had failed. The so-called experts in the foreign policy establishment, whose record is nothing but endless wars, trillions of wasted taxpayer dollars, and dead Americans, have the nerve to try and lecture President Trump, who has solved...
Yeah, you have the nerve to try to lecture my president? Yeah.
7 global conflicts in...
7 now. How did we get to 7? Where's this?
7 months about peace.
What did we got? We got to 7? Damn. Hey, Rich, now you have to tell me 7 conflicts. Yeah, you thought I forgot. I know he's there. He commented yesterday. He left some long ass paragraph about feelings. I don't care. But I responded, what are the 6 conflicts? But now there's 7. Dang. See, now you got to find another one.
This is the same president, by the way, who brokered the Abraham Accords in his first term,
wow,
on top of more than half a dozen other peace deals this year alone.
He brokered a deal for Israel. Anything else? Nope.
As I just said.
Oh, the Congo, which is a ceasefire. But he says we don't do But he also says we don't do ceasefires. We just do peace negotiate or whatever. Everything that he's taught, like I can't. You know what? It sucks. But when Israel or not that no, India and Pakistan start fighting each other again, because they will. I'm just gonna laugh. Be like, hey, thought that was solved. Thought that happened. Or like when Israel cries about Hamas or something again. Oh, I thought that was solved. What happened?
We also saw yesterday the president of Ukraine and all of the other major leaders of Europe fly across the Atlantic Ocean to meet President Trump at the White House because of the progress that was made, and that, if you ask the media, failed meeting, but it was not. It was highly productive and it was successful. This is why Americans' trust in the mass media is at a lowest point in more than 5 decades. Diplomacy is a delicate process, and instead of reporting the facts about what is happening here at this White House and what is happening between this president and other leaders around the world,
attack the media.
Many outlets in this room continue to try to actively undermine the president and sabotage the efforts towards peace.
1984. Yeah, the media is sabotaging Trump.
That is why I felt the need to set the record straight.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. No one asked for that, though. No one asked for you to set the record straight. No one asked for you to come up and monologue for this. You're the press. You're supposed to give the facts about what Trump is doing and what the White House is doing. Not play apologist, not play propagandist. You're not Goebbels. That's why I call her Nazi Barbie, because she comes out and does monologues, MAGA monologues. And then also her job is to be the press secretary for the commander-in-chief, for the president. But this is all other levels of fascism. Like she might as well be the North Korean reporter. The lady who does the North Korean reports. North Korea media. North Korea media. Entertainment made by. There you go. Here's Caroline Levitt right here. Don't forget to call your state reps to voice opposition for what they are doing. I called Ohio senators for my governor yet again today. Here, anyways, awesome, good idea, Gene. Here's Caroline Levitt.
우리의 당과 국가 군대의 최고領導자 김정은 동지께서 미 합중국 대통령과의 역사적인 첫 상봉과 회담을 위하여 평양을 출발하셨습니다. 경의하는 최고領導자
This
동지와
historic first meeting and talks between the respected and beloved comrade, supreme leader, and Donald J. Trump,
역사적인 첫
President of the United States of America.
6월 12일 오전 싱가포르 공화국에서 진행되게
This already
됩니다.
happened, obviously.
경의하는
This is during Trump's first term when he crossed the DMZ and shit.
최고領導자 동지를
The report listing 6 dignitaries attending lasted 6 minutes.
당중앙위원회 부위원장들인 김영철 동지, 리수영 동지.
Damn it! I wish I'd have the subtitles for what she's saying instead of writing over it. Anyways, so that lady does the news for North Korea, and it's just all glazing. It's just glazing the supreme commander, the supreme leader. He's the best. And then they do like propaganda of little Rocket Man and his fat ass with it just like sitting and waving and shit. And it's just like they got like old timey music with it and shit. It's like, when is that going to happen? I'm wondering when they're going to cut to Trump doing stuff or like just standing there. And then they have like some cringe ass AI generated song with it or something like they're already doing with some of our federal agencies.
In other news, on the home front, President Trump's efforts to make D.C. safe again are working.
Right.
There have been a total of 465 arrests since the start of this operation on Thursday, August 7th. Last night, there were a total of 52 arrests, including the arrest of an illegal alien MS-13 gang member with convictions for DWI and drug possession. Thanks to President Trump's leadership and the outstanding work of both federal and local law enforcement, dangerous gang members like the one picked up last night will not be allowed on the streets of our nation's capital. Other arrests last night included assault with a deadly weapon for stabbing, parole violation for robbery, murder, outstanding warrant for attempted murder, assault on federal law enforcement officer, and felony assault. 4 more homeless encampments were also removed during yesterday's reporting period. To
Wow,
date,
something to
a
be proud
total
of.
48 homeless encampments
Wow.
have been cleared in Washington, D.C.
Wow, really something to be proud of, for sure.
by multi-agency teams.
Mhm.
MPD patrol units are actively working with city officials to locate and clear additional...
So far, they've lied about the crime, obviously. They're lying about the crime in general. But then what we've seen is a sandwich guy and the homeless getting removed. That's it. That's all that's happened.
encampments and remove homeless residents off of Washington's streets. And despite fake narratives from the media, again, a significant number of the arrests have been in high crime areas of
Yeah, high crime.
DC. In fact, nearly half of all of the non-illegal alien-related arrests have occurred in wards 7 and 8. The 2 wards that have the highest number of violent crime, as well as homicides and assaults with dangerous weapons last year. So while Democrats continue to coddle violent criminals, President Trump and this administration are focused on putting them behind bars and unapologetically standing up for the safety of law-abiding American citizens. And the White House will continue to provide all of you with the results of this operation in the days ahead.
Right.
So with that,
Right.
I will take your questions today here in our new media seat.
Yeah, I'll take your questions, media, after I just spent time shitting on I'm glad the most of the media just kind of like lets them, it's like dead air. Just lets Caroline Levitt and others just ramble on and on and on. They're like, okay, anyways, here's the question. And that's more of the seasoned reporters know how to do that.
We have Jack Posobiec, who joined.
Oh my fucking God. They got Jack Posobiec, who also, by the way, so the guy that's about to ask a question, Jack Pizzagates, he got famous for staking out a Chuck E. Cheese or something, and said they had pedophiles in the basement of a Chuck E. Cheese, and like right-wingers thought that was legit, and like he got InfoWars cred and shit. But Jack Posobiec actually told me to step on a landmine when I was in Ukraine, so I'll be remembering if I ever cross paths with Jack Posobiec, I'm going to be confronting that motherfucker. I promise you. I don't care what position he has in the government. Boy, Jack Posobiec needs the smoke. I'm telling you that right now. He's just a giant piece of shit overall. Also the same guy who jump scare. My bad, I forgot that was on. Jack Posobiec, this guy. who has the confused I'm taking a shit face. Okay. Poso, same guy, yeah, confused I just shit myself. That's the face of I just pooped. Okay, he's famous for the Jack Poso binder. That's what he's famous for. Holding the Epstein files binder. There you go. Nailed it. As he's taking a shit in the picture, crapping his pants. They're trying to be like Trump. Yeah, that's what Trump does, so they got to do it too. Jack Posobiec. Okay, what's he got to ask?
Us in Anchorage, Alaska last week. Jack, thanks for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
Caroline, thanks so much. So a couple of questions regarding the status of these peace talks. Obviously, we saw the president and President Putin there in Anchorage. We saw the world leaders here yesterday.
In Anchorage? They weren't in Anchorage. No, they were in Anchorage. I'm an idiot. My bad. They were at J-Bear, though. I'm military. Sorry. They were at a military base, and that's set for me in my brain. That's separate than the city. But he's right. My bad.
With this summit, we've heard phrases like coalition of the willing. We've also heard Article 5-like guarantees. When it comes to the security guarantees, what is the current status of that? I know the president earlier today mentioned boots on the ground would be UK, France, Germany possibly, but unequivocally said no U.S. troops on the ground, but U.S. coordination. Can you elaborate on that, and what would the red lines be?
Sure. Well, you got to the heart of what I was going to say to all of you today on security guarantees, which is the president has definitively stated U.S. boots will not be on the ground in Ukraine, but we can certainly help in the coordination and perhaps provide other means of security guarantees to our European allies. The president understands security guarantees are crucially important to ensure a lasting peace, and he has directed his national security team to coordinate with our friends in Europe and also to continue to cooperate and discuss these matters with Ukraine and Russia as well.
Caroline, now have the Russians responded at all? I know we spoke with President Putin last night. What has been their response? Because we've heard some reports from the Kremlin and others saying they're unequivocally against NATO troops on the ground.
Well, look, the president continues to have these conversations with both leaders. Those conversations took place in Anchorage, Alaska, again yesterday with the Europeans and President Zelensky, and he has directed his team to come up with a framework for these security guarantees that can be acceptable to help ensure a lasting peace and end this war.
And then just last question real quick on this. Regarding some of the funding, we're hearing questions about another round of weapons sales or possibly a round of U.S. purchases of Ukrainian drones. Will that money be funded by the U.S. taxpayers? Are we finally going to see an end to the U.S. taxpayer-funded, seemingly endless mandate for these foreign wars?
Well, the president is very sensitive to the needs of the American taxpayer, and immediately upon entering office back in January,
thank you, Rooster, for following on Twitch.
That we're not going to continue writing blank checks to fund a war very far away, which is why he came up with the very creative solution to have NATO purchase American weaponry because it is the best in the world, and then to backfill the needs of the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian people and their military. So that's the solution the president has came up with. We'll continue to see that forward. As for any additional sales, I'll have to defer you to the Department of Defense.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jack. Kelly.
What has President Trump learned that tells him that Vladimir Putin would be willing to make a deal for him, for President Trump?
Well, the president has learned a lot, which is part of the reason he opened up this dialogue. The previous administration, who oversaw the beginning of this war, refused to talk. And President Trump has always said, in order to learn, in order to move the ball forward with diplomacy and towards peace, you have to have open dialogue. And so
and Putin hasn't had that. Russia is responsible for the invasion. The MAGA and these Nazis blaming Biden is just tiring. It's old at this point. It's just old. So I don't have energy to give to that because it's just they're going to keep saying it. They're going to keep putting it out there, and only really their cult believe it, to be honest. So
that's why the president has had several conversations by phone, and of course,
and the far left too, because I've gotten into it with the far left, but they are politically ineffective and they don't have anything anyway. So they're just loud. But MAGA is in power. And like they're just gonna keep saying it, so it's just There's nothing much else to do at
An
this point.
in-person meeting last Friday with President Putin. He also has talked to President Zelensky dozens of times, had him here at the White House yesterday, and he's understanding what both sides want, what both sides are going to have to give up. And he has always said, in order to get a good deal, both sides are going to have to walk away a little bit unhappy. So he continues to learn a lot throughout these conversations, which is why we've seen progress from both sides. And I would also just add, when it comes
Ukraine's time served in their country getting bombed and invaded is not enough. That's crazy. They're gonna have to give up something. Yeah, Ukraine. You have to give up something. The Russians have they temporarily had Ukrainians in Kursk for a little bit, but beyond that, the war has not. They've had some drones. Ukraine's attacked their oil facilities and whatnot. But in terms of like at scale, civilians in Russia feeling the war, not really. It's like here and there, the civilians will see the Ukrainian drones or whatever. But at scale in cities beyond, Ukraine has absolutely felt the war 4 to 1 or higher of scale, like exponentially higher. So what they've already faced to this point is the loss, especially since like. I don't know. I just don't foresee a peace deal that Russia would accept, or even America or Trump wouldn't give Crimea back to Ukraine like that. Ukraine will have to fight for that still into the future. But in terms of like where we're at now, Ukraine will like not be able to hold all of this, and I think Ukraine understands that. It's just how much that Russia is going to take from them, or like attempt to take for a settlement, which still. There's nothing even there for that. It's talks on talks for that situation right now.
Comes to learning and moving the ball forward, look at how both Russia and Ukraine have actually talked directly for the first time in many years, thanks to the efforts of this president and this administration.
Specifically for President Trump, though, what do you think Putin's motivation is to try to do something for President Trump, as opposed to just resolving the conflict?
I think, as I just spoke to in my opening remarks, Kelly, Russia and all countries around this world actually respect the United States again. And the president is using the might of American strength to demand that respect from our allies, our friends, our adversaries all around the world. And we've seen that not just lead to progress with Russia and Ukraine, but also we've seen it in the closing of 7 global conflicts around the world as well.
When? How? Thank you, Maggie, for becoming a supporter on the stream.
We've seen it with the release of hostages in Gaza. You've seen it with the end of the conflict between India and Pakistan, which
the conflict in Gaza is over. Dang.
Resulted in a nuclear war if we had not had a president who believed in the strength and the leverage that comes with the job of being the president of the United States of America. Rachel.
Names 3 conflicts, but one of them, we've solved 7, but here's 3, and definitely 2 of them are nowhere near being solved, and the other one isn't a ceasefire, but India and Pakistan they hate each other forever, and they will never be at peace. So that's just clowning right there.
Thanks, Caroline. Heading into Alaska, a lot of the focus in the talk was on this trilateral meeting between these 3 leaders. Can you explain how this went from a trilateral meeting involving President Trump to now the focus being on this bilateral meeting without the president first?
Well, look, the president has spoken to both leaders about this, and both leaders have expressed a willingness to sit down with each other. And so our national security team will help both countries do that. Ultimately, the president has always said that there are areas of disagreement in this war that will have to be discussed and decided upon by these 2 countries. And so he wants these 2 countries to engage in direct diplomacy. He's said that from the very beginning, which is why he's agreeable to the idea of having President Zelensky and President Putin get together. And I understand accommodations for that meeting are underway. As soon as we hear more details, we'll be sure to let all of you know.
And just a quick follow-up. We know as of right now there is no ceasefire in place. We've seen Russia continue its attacks on Ukraine. What indications is the president getting from Putin that he wants to have this meeting with Zelensky soon?
Because he spoke to him directly yesterday.
And he expressed that
Haley,
sooner rather than later.
He spoke to that directly yesterday, and the president put that in his statement that he gave to all of you, the news media, knowing you'd be asking following that conversation in the effort of transparency. Haley.
Hey, thanks, Caroline. You made clear no U.S. boots on the ground. Is the president considering
What's with that?
boots in the air?
What is that? Listen, Republican blondes, stop putting your lips out like that. It's fucking annoying. I'm telling you. what you want. At the end of the day, who am I? But it's annoying. Can't stand it. Stop it. And like, what do you? Is this 2009 with the duck face thing? I can't, dude. Every time she does it, and it's just the worst. I just can't stand it.
As a form of a security guarantee.
Look, that was something the
Yeah,
president mentioned
fucking
on
duck lips, dude.
his interview this morning. It is an option and a possibility. I won't certainly rule out anything as far as military options that the president has at his disposal. I'll let him do that. I can tell you he's definitively ruled out boots on the ground. Sure.
Thanks, Tara. Just about the possible venue for the talks. Can you confirm that Putin suggested Moscow as a venue for the bilateral talks? And if so, doesn't that indicate that Putin is perhaps not serious about this, that he's suggesting a venue that there's no way that Zelensky is going to go to?
Look, I'm not going to litigate the private conversations between the president and President Putin, aside from what the president himself has already spoken on. But I can tell you there are many options that are being discussed by our national security team right now with both parties.
Like?
I just told you we'll provide you details as soon as we can. Thank you for trying, though. Libby.
Thank you, Caroline. I wanted to ask about the National Guard troops. How is the White House coordinating how they're being placed in D.C., what areas?
Oh, boy.
And then also, how long should people here in the district anticipate the National Guard to be on the ground patrolling the streets?
I don't have a timeline for you, Libby, but we will keep you posted on that. I think the president, as you know, and this administration, he came to this briefing room with members of his cabinet to lay out the rationale and the reasoning for federalizing the National Guard here in Washington,
And
D.C.
it was not effective, and it looked weak. That was clowning too.
And for our work with the Metropolitan Police Department to make our district safer. We've seen violent crime has taken the lives of far too many residents here in our nation's capital, and the president wants to make it safe again.
I need the media to start pushing back on this. You know, they're sitting there and taking it. Nah, they need to start pushing back, especially when she's standing up there and berating the media. They need whoever is in that room, the news media. I'll do it. Fuck it. You know what? I'll do it. Send me. I'll go there and you say, oh really? So you're saying this and this and this? Well, you said this and this and this. Well, actually, they need to start having balls again and push back on this. They're just like taking it and then trying to play with it. They're not like playing into it with feelings, but like they're not pushing back like they did the first term, but they kind of went overboard with it in the first term. It was like nitpicking like everything. And then now they don't even go after the important shit anymore, unless it's like independent media, like Midas Touch will obviously, or We Do, or independent media. Corporate media though, they playing it like ad friendly with Trump, and it's not effective. They need to be like Newsom.
And as for the coordination efforts, this interagency team is meeting and talking daily. In fact, there's a meeting taking place right now in the West Wing with members of the interagency task force to continue to discuss not just the National Guard deployment, but also how we can continue to remove public safety threats off of the streets of Washington, which, as the numbers I just showed you prove, they are doing every single night. I will just reiterate, 465 total arrests and counting since the start of this operation. I believe 11 or 12 days ago. I'll have to check the calendar, but those are pretty remarkable results. If not for this task force and their high level of coordination and the leadership of this president, there would have been 465 more violent criminals on the streets of this capital that you all live in every day. So I think we should all be very grateful for that.
Yeah, we should all be very grateful, but we got a pedophile as our president. I'd be more grateful if he was like behind bars. So, but we got to live with that, don't we, Caroline? And crazy. Yeah, so thank your president. Next.
Steven.
Thank you, Caroline. 3 questions about the D.C. crackdown.
Sure.
First, I was wondering if you could clarify something President Trump said. He mentioned getting rid of the slums where criminals live. Was he talking about tents or permanent residential buildings? And then the mayor has expressed an interest in clarifying how much of a focus illegal immigration enforcement is as part of this crackdown. Can you say anything about that?
Sure.
And third, any preview on the beautification?
3 questions. I'll try to answer all 3 of them pointedly for you. First, when it comes to what you said, and the president said, the slums of Washington, D.C., he's referring to the most dangerous communities, neighborhoods.
He's referring to black people. Next.
in streets. And the 5th of this year, just more than a month ago, a 3-year-old beautiful young girl was shot and killed in her car with her family in one of these communities, which is why there has been a surge, despite what many of you have been falsely reporting. And I believe it was the Washington Post who put out a map claiming it to be fact-based when it was just based on, I don't know, accounts that they've heard on the street, not actual statistics and data. So we went and reconfigured the numbers. And as I said, nearly half of all the non-illegal alien-related arrests have occurred in wards 7 and 8 in the District of Columbia, where we know, excuse me, there's the highest rate of crime. So we'll continue to do that. And what was your second question?
Almost couldn't make it through it. Jumbling the numbers around in the sentence is tough to get it out.
Stephen?
Legal immigration, how much of a focus that is?
Yeah, look, I mean, the focus is to make D.C. safe and beautiful and to remove public safety threats and violent criminals from our streets. If federal law enforcement, with the help of the Metropolitan Police Department, come across illegal aliens, of course, we are going to abide by this administration's policy of law and order, and we are going to remove illegal criminals from our nation's capital. They will be detained and deported, just like they are in every other community across the country. Kristen.
First question is, whose idea was it to change the next steps from a trilateral to a bilateral meeting?
It was an idea that evolved in the course of the president's conversations with both President Putin, President Zelensky, and the European leaders yesterday. And as you saw, Kristen, with all of those European leaders leaving the White House, including the NATO Secretary General, they all agree that this is a great first step. And it's a good thing that these two leaders are going to be sitting down together, and the president expects that to happen.
And how long is Trump willing to wait and operate in good faith for Putin to actually arrange a meeting before he intervenes?
Look, the president has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. He's made himself...
Did the sanctions on India go into effect? So yeah, we're just saying shit. Just saying shit. There's no sanctions on India. Ain't no fucking sanctions on India, dude. Literally nothing. Let's ask the magic conch. Magic conch? Is there... Where'd it go? Where's my magic conch? There you go. Trump sanctions on India? Caroline Levitt said... Caroline? No. What's been imposed are tariffs, not legal sanctions in the traditional sense. Wow. So we're going to call tariff sanctions? Yeah, what? No. I disagree, ChatGPT. She said that on purpose. To try to lie, because that's what they do. So, final take, there are punitive measures on Indian imports, but these are tariffs, not legal sanctions in the technical sense. Caroline Levitt's language describes tariffs as sanctions. Okay. No, she's just bullshitting. So no, there's no sanctions on India and other places, like she said. As you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. Yeah, and other actions as well. Just saying shit. Just saying shit. Ain't no sanctions on India. He's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end, and he has scoffed at the ideas. Come on, Merc, using ChatGPT. Listen, I don't give a fuck. They used to say the same thing about people using the internet. I don't care. I'm getting ahead of the game. Suck my nuts. I'm using AI. I'm wielding AI. I will wield AI. I promise you I will. I all those shit that I heard about crypto and I'm not staying behind on this one. Yeah, you best believe that. I ain't missing out on AI. I'm ready. I'm full go boy. A good $900 a month come from AI for me. More ahead. I ain't missing this one. All the shit I heard, crypto ain't real money. Yeah, I wish I didn't listen to that person. Should have invested into Bitcoin instead of listening to the dumbass that told me not to invest into Bitcoin because it's unreal. It's not real money. It's not real money, but like at the same time, I'd be rich and I don't give a fuck. Or the internet in general. My parents, when I was a kid, kept me off the internet. Boy, if I only would have been on the internet, what I could have came up with, what I could have done instead. I ain't gonna be behind on this one. Plus, also my AI fact checks itself, and it provides sources to click, and then I click into the sources it's saying. So eat my ass.
Of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
Just a clarification on something you said earlier about Putin agreeing to the meeting. The Kremlin seemed to indicate that Putin did not firmly agree to a bilateral. Did he agree to have a sit down with just Zelensky on the phone?
I can assure you that the United States government and the Trump administration is working with both Russia and Ukraine to make that bilateral happen as we speak. Sean.
Hey, if the point is to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours after sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress in the readout that was given to these European leaders immediately following his meeting with President Putin that every single one of them got on a plane 48 hours later and flew to the United States of America. And if I could just read for all of you some of the statements from those European leaders yesterday, you had President Zelensky himself saying it was a very good conversation. It was really good. We spoke about very sensitive points. The Secretary General, Mark Rutte, it was the president only because of the president that this deadlock was broken, but with President Putin by starting a dialogue. So these leaders who this war is in their backyard are very grateful that the president took that call and that he was there to provide them with a readout of Russia's thinking on this, something that was not done by the previous administration at all. Catherine.
Yeah. Biden didn't do that. Yeah, Biden only went to the European leaders and had consistent leaders with them, or consistent meetings with them all the time. But yeah, this one meeting where they come to the U.S., take that, media.
The White House looking at Budapest as a possible?
She just looks bewildered. Then she goes back to her stupid face. My favorite is the deep breaths and knowing she's out of her league actually, but then she has to lock in, and then she locks in for a second. But you can notice the times where she has to fuck on it, collect herself, because there might be some semblance of a human being in this person, and she does a big deep breath, and that's when she has to collect herself, and then she locks back in when her lips press forward. That's when she's locked back in, full Nazi Barbie mode.
I'm not going to confirm or deny locations. We'll provide you with details as soon as we can.
Just following up on Kristen's question, I understand that the White House is working and allies are working to make this meeting happen, but did Putin promise to do a meeting with Zelensky, a direct meeting, in the coming weeks?
He has, and I just answered that question for you. Franco.
Thanks. I just want to clarify. So you are saying that President Trump is considering U.S. pilots and U.S. aircraft potentially supporting European or Ukrainian forces?
The president spoke to that himself this morning when he called into Fox and Friends, and I would defer you to his answer. You can read it directly yourself.
In addition, can I ask, no boots on the ground?
Why can't you? You gotta go watch Fox and Friends. You're the fucking I can't stand it, dude. She's the fucking worst. She doesn't want to be there anymore. She gives her monologue, and then after that, she's just fucking done. Don't want to be there.
Steve Witkoff's talking about Article 5 security guarantees. Can you talk about what other Article 5 security guarantees
asked and answered
are being considered if it's not boots on the ground?
These are very sensitive diplomatic discussions that are currently taking place literally as we speak. So
I can't give you that.
To the national security team, and I'll leave it to the president to have those private discussions with these leaders as we try to bring this war to an end.
And can I ask one
Mary
more?
Margaret, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline.
Can I ask some more? Mary Margaret, go ahead.
Two questions, if that's okay. So on these
She's annoyed. She's annoyed.
meetings, I know you said that the trilateral will take place if necessary. Do you think that we might not need the trilateral and that
she's so upset. She is fuming inside right now. That one question made her so mad. because she had to take 3 extra couple minutes to explain herself again.
And then as a follow-up, I know the president said on Fox News this morning that he's partially seeking peace in order to get to heaven. Was he joking, or is there spiritual motivation behind?
She's used to bossing around her geriatric boyfriend all day and dating an old dude, because obviously when he dies, she's going to get all his money, because like a lot of right-wing women do that.
His peace deals here.
I think the president was serious. I think the president wants to get to heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well. Annie.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm
Wow.
just shifting gears to the Department of Justice for a minute. Can you walk us through why another deputy FBI director was named? Does Trump have any displeasure with how the FBI has been being run to date? And then I have a question about the antitrust division.
No, Andrew Bailey is extremely qualified. As you know, he's been serving with honor as the Attorney General of Missouri, and he's been brought on as another set of very credible and experienced hands to work alongside the current Deputy Director, Dan Bongino, under the leadership of the Director, Kash Patel, and the Attorney General.
What's going on there? Uh-oh. Bongino getting fired? Bondi Patel tapped Missouri AG as additional FBI co-deputy director. Wow. FBI gets new deputy director, though Bongino hasn't quit. He's just getting coked out all day and like not doing his job, or yeah, you got right-wing podcasters as the FBI, so come a long way from Donald Trump routinely notifying administration officials of their termination via tweets. But working in the second Trump White House still sounds pretty unnerving. The administration just announced that Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has been tapped to be deputy director of the FBI, which is pretty weird since Dan Bongino is already serving the role. So Dan Bongino is just kind of like a figurehead. He's like a propaganda piece then, to be like, yeah, I'm in the inside. And then he's going to go to his podcast and lie to all of his viewers about what's really going on. Here's what's really going on in the FBI. There you go. You can go back and be the Goebbels of the FBI. Fox News Digital broke the news on Monday that Bailey will serve as co-deputy director alongside Bongo. The report included statements praising Bailey from both FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi. So he's an assistant to the assistant deputy director. Okay. I'm thrilled to welcome Andrew Bailey as co-deputy director of the FBI. The assistant's assistant. Wow. And we want to slash bureaucracy, though. We want MAGA. We want to slash bureaucracy. We want less government jobs. I think the federal government should be 10 people. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pete Hegseth, Tim Pool, Alex Jones. Those people, they're fine.
Pam Bondi, and the FBI has been doing a tremendous job. We've seen their agents out on the streets as part of this interagency task force here in Washington, but the crime that they've been stopping here in Washington, they've been doing this for 7 months all across the country. In fact, there's been 19,000 arrests by the FBI nationwide. That's more than double last year in the same time period. Of those, 1,600 arrests were for violent crimes against children. 4,000 child victims have been rescued by this FBI under this current leadership. 1,000 arrests from investigations of foreign terrorist organizations. There's been 1,500 kilos of fentanyl seized, 6,300 kilos of meth have been seized, and 3 of the top 10 most wanted have been arrested so far. Not a single one of the individuals on the top 10 most wanted list were arrested under the previous administration. We've arrested 3 in 7 months. So when you're actually working and enforcing law and order, you need all hands on deck. And so we look forward to welcoming Andrew Bailey to this new post.
Yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah, all hands on deck.
A quick question about Roger Alfred, who's a former DOJ official. He gave a speech in Aspen yesterday where he said that senior DOJ aides are cutting deals with favored lobbyists.
DOJ aides.
The president has any
I feel like I'm getting aids from this DOJ.
concerns at all with the way the Antitrust division is working?
I have no idea who that individual is. I don't know why he made those comments. I don't know what basis.
Ooh, wait, what? My bad.
About Roger Alfred, who's a former DOJ official. He gave a speech in Aspen yesterday where he said that senior DOJ aides are
Roger Alfred. I don't know who that is. Who is that? Who's she talking about?
Are cutting deals with favored lobbyists.
Who is it? Who is she talking about? One more time. Sorry.
So when you're actually working and it's
Whatever.
Jackie.
Blah, blah, blah.
I have a quick question about Roger Alfred, who's a former DOJ official. He gave a speech.
What is it? Sorry.
Quick question.
I can't hear the
about
name.
Roger Alfred.
Roger Alfred. Roger Alfredo. Why did it do that? Roger Alfred DOJ. Who's Roger Alfredo? What I saw inside Pam Bondi's. Oh wow. I don't know who that is. Next. It's okay. We'll figure it out. DOJ. There's no videos. Just articles. Let's go to the Hill. Ex-DOJ antitrust official tears into agency leadership over MAGA-friendly lobbying. A former top official in the Department of Justice's Antitrust Division slammed several members of the agency's senior leadership Monday for allegedly allowing political connected lobbyists to influence decision-making. Roger Alfred, who served as principal deputy assistant attorney general, was fired last month amid internal divisions over the handling of the merger between Hewlett Packard Enterprise and Juniper Networks. In his first remarks since the ouster, Alfred described a battle within the DOJ's antitrust division between MAGA reformers and MAGA in-name-only lobbyists. The MAGA in-name-only lobbyists and DOJ officials enabling them are pursuing a different agenda. Their loyalty is not to the president's antitrust agenda or to rebuild confidence and integrity in the DOJ. Regardless of the outcome, their commitment is to exert and expand their influence and enrich themselves as long as their friends and supplicants are in power. Alfred was dismissed for insubordination last month alongside Bill Rinner, who is Deputy Assistant Attorney General and head of merger enforcement. At the center of the dispute is the HPE-Juniper merger, which the Trump administration sued to block in January. However, the DOJ announced a proposed settlement in late June, allowing for the merger to go forward as long as HPE divests its division for small and medium businesses and licenses Juniper's software to competitors. Dang, dude. Got fired for not kissing the ring and doing Trump shit. The settlement was approved after Attorney General Pam Bondi's chief of staff, Chad Mazzille, stepped in and overruled Gail Slater, the head of the Antitrust Division, according to CBS News. Alfred took particular aim at Mazzille as well as Stanley Woodward, who is nominated to serve as Associate Attorney General. The core problem is simple. AG Bondi has delegated authority to leaders like her chief of staff, Chad Mazzille, and Associate Attorney General nominee Stanley Woodward, who do not share her commitment to the rule of law and one tier of justice for all. Although I am limited in what I can say, in my opinion, it is my opinion that in the HPE-Juniper merger scandal, Chad Mazzille and Stanley Woodward perverted justice and acted inconsistent with the rule of law. He accused some at the DOJ and the Trump administration of favoring parties and lobbyists considered as being on the same MAGA team, while disfavoring enemies of MAGA. That tracks. That tracks with Trump and how he governs, or how he is as a politician. Aware of this injustice, companies are hiring lawyers and influence peddlers to bolster their MAGA credentials and pervert traditional law enforcement. Jesus. Slater has reportedly told companies not to engage with the administration through Trump-affiliated lobbyists, spurring additional tensions within the Antitrust Division. The Department of Justice is now overwhelmed with lobbyists with little antitrust expertise going above the Antitrust Division leadership seeking special favors with warm hugs. On numerous occasions in a variety of matters, we implored our superiors and the lawyers on the other side of the aisle to call off the jackals, but to no avail today. Today, cases are being resolved based on political connections, not the legal merits. That's not good. Or Donald Trump making his politics about whether or not you're loyal to him or not, like a mafia. A DOJ spokesperson dismissed Alfred's comments on Monday as the delusional musings of a disgruntled ex. Yeah, for sure. arguing that the HPE Juniper merger's resolution was based on the merits of the transaction, which the merits of the transaction are how loyal are you to Trump? Roger Alfred is the James Comey of Antitrust. Well, that means I trust him now. Okay, that means for sure he's telling the truth. So MAGA's coping and lying. Fake. They're saying fake news basically on that. So now I get it. So that's bad actually. Yeah, that's something that's not good.
To this new post, Jackie.
I have a quick question about Roger Alfred, who's a former DOJ official. He gave a speech in Aspen yesterday where he said that senior DOJ aides are cutting deals with favored lobbyists. I'm wondering if the president has any concerns at all with the way the antitrust.
I don't know who that is.
I have no idea who that individual is. I don't know why he made those comments. I don't know what basis he's making those comments on. My instinct tells me it's not true, but we will definitely look into them and I'll get you a response.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Never heard of him, what he's doing, but fake news. Yep, not true. Yeah, I don't know who he is, the details, the facts, what's going on, but not true. That actually, Caroline, you've summarized MAGA, another MAGA anecdote of like their political ideology. Is it true? I don't know. Never heard of it. Can't spell it. Don't know where it is, but I don't trust it. That can't be true. Nope. Don't know any details at all, but fake.
Jackie.
Thanks, Caroline. Since the president often says that this war would not have started if he were in office, and
True.
and Putin confirmed that.
It's true. Do you accept that as true?
What?
Caroline, since the president often says that this war would not have started if he were in office, and
True.
and Putin confirmed that.
It's true. Do you accept that as true? The European leaders do.
Well,
and President Putin himself said that, by the way.
He did say that. The question I have, though, is what is the president going to do to ensure that these security guarantees last beyond him into the time when he is no longer president? And
She like challenged her to a debate there for a second. Are you saying it's not true? Are you saying it's not true? You saying Putin didn't say that? Putin said it.
does that have to involve Congress at all?
Well, he understands the need for that, which he spoke to yesterday. And what's he going to do? It's why he's engaging in so many talks and so many conversations with both sides of this war with our European allies. It's why on the way home from Anchorage, Alaska, very late at night, when I know many of you on the press plane were sleeping and many staff were sleeping, the president himself was still awake at 2 o'clock.
Jesus Christ, bro. That alone will hopefully push a lot of Americans away. Yeah, well, you fucking pores and you lazy ass, y'all were sleeping on the plane on the way back. Donald Trump was up and working. That works on MAGA. They love that. They love the idea that Donald Trump is just never rests. It's fake. He's the most rested, doesn't do shit actually president, and golfs all the time. But they, in their brain, believe that he is just hard at work for them, and that he is just constantly working and he's better than everyone. And it's insane.
In the morning, talking to European leaders and NATO about how we can ensure a lasting peace and bring this conflict to an end. He has expended an incredible amount of time, energy, and effort into bringing this war to an end, and he remains determined to do that.
Also, can
Go
I ask
ahead.
you about the
Go ahead.
Thank you, Carolyn.
DC crime?
Sure, Jake, and then to your right.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn. Which of the half dozen peace deals that the president's pulled off would you say he's the most proud of? And then I have another question.
That's a good question, Jake. I'll leave that to the president to answer.
Yeah, because you don't have any. Hey, which of the conflicts that he solved is he most proud of? I'll let Trump answer that. Yeah, next question.
I think he's proud of
all of them.
The peace deals that he's been able to.
I should have all of them. All peace deal lives matter. Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah.
To achieve. You saw the president of Armenia and the head of Azerbaijan both at the White House just a couple of weeks ago. The president, I know, very much enjoyed spending time with them and helping to bring that conflict to an end. He very much enjoyed his time with leaders of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the Oval Office, talking to them about bringing that decades-long war to an end. India and Pakistan. He used trade in a very powerful way as leverage to bring that conflict to an end. So I know he's very proud of all of these achievements, and I know
we're still missing 4 conflicts. Or you said it was 7. You said there's been 7, but like the 3 you've named are shaky at best. the Republic of the Congo, the Azerbaijan, Armenia, which if Russia says we're going to get that going again, they will. So Russia will fuck with that one. And then India and Pakistan, I believe the ceasefire they have was negotiated by themselves. But we're still missing 4 conflicts. So they named 3 shaky conflicts. U.S. claims it keeps an eye on India, Pakistan every single day. I'm asking the magic conch. Let's see if maybe ChatGPT will give Trump a win. Maybe he did. Maybe he did do it. I don't think so, though. Did Trump broker the India-Pakistan ceasefire? Magic conch? No. The claim that Donald Trump brokered the India-Pakistan ceasefire is highly disputed and not fully supported by evidence or acknowledged by India. Here's the breakdown. What actually happened? Okay. In May of 2025, following intense hostilities sparked by a terror attack in Kashmir, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance, reached out to Indian and Pakistani officials. Rubio called Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir, while Vance called Prime Minister Modi to urge de-escalation and dialogue. This diplomatic push contributed to a fragile ceasefire formally announced on May 10th, 2025, though direct military channels between India and Pakistan. Trump publicly acknowledged the ceasefire the same day. Trump's claims versus India's response. Donald Trump asserted that U.S. mediated the ceasefire and presented it as one of his foreign policy achievements. Pakistan welcomed U.S. involvement. In fact, it nominated Trump for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize, citing his diplomatic role in securing the truce, which is on purpose because they know that that's going to make India mad. India flatly denied any U.S. mediation. Government officials emphasized that the ceasefire resulted from bilateral military arrangements, not third-party intervention. India also rejected claims that trade incentives from the U.S. played a role. So Pakistan leaning into it. India, fuck, no. What we did, and if anything, we did it. So objective assessment, to be objective, yes, U.S. officials, especially Rubio and Vance, played a behind-the-scenes diplomatic role facilitating communication. But calling Trump the principal broker overstates his role. India's government denies U.S. mediation occurred, and evidence points to a more complex, multi-party process involving direct bilateral efforts plus international pressure. Bottom line, thanks GPT. Trump did not contribute to diplomatic de-escalation through his administration's outreach, but he did not single-handedly, he did contribute to diplomatic de-escalation through his administration's outreach with Rubio and J.D. Vance, but he did not single-handedly broker the India-Pakistan ceasefire. The agreement was primarily a result of bilateral military discussions with some U.S. involvement at the margins. That's the consensus, a shared effect, not a solo triumph. And even then, India is like, what ceasefire? And Pakistan's like, yeah, for sure. Trump, Nobel Peace. They did the Hillary. Yeah, Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. Do they actually believe it? No. It's a meme. Like I said, when this all happened months ago.
He used
or was it 2 months ago now?
Trade in a very powerful way as leverage to bring that conflict to an end.
Jesus.
So I know he's very proud of all of these achievements, and I know he's very honored to serve as the president of the United States and to restore peace around this world. Go ahead.
So you mentioned Armenia and Azerbaijan. That's a conflict that I spent time in the Southern Caucasus covering that, and a conflict of over 30 years, and he resolved it in just a couple of months. Are there other conflicts that the president's working on right now that are off the radar screen that we should be tracking?
In fact, there are many. The State Department is always working around the clock under the leadership of Secretary Rubio and keeping the president apprised of conflicts that are bubbling up all over the world. But of course, as you all know, as we've talked a lot about in this briefing, he's spending a lot of time right now on ending this war in Russia-Ukraine, and of course the conflict in Israel and Gaza, which he wants to see come to a close as well. Sure, go ahead.
So the president says that he's starting a movement to eliminate mail-in voting, but states administer elections, not federal federal authorities. So can you provide any more details about how the White House plans to eliminate that?
The White House continues to work on this, and when Congress comes back to Washington, I'm sure there will be many discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill and also our friends in state legislatures across the country to ensure that we're protecting the integrity of the vote for the American people. And I think Republicans generally, and the president generally, wants to make it easier for Americans to vote and harder for people to cheat in our elections. And it's quite mind-boggling that the Democrat Party could stand in opposition to common sense. He wants to ensure election integrity. There were great efforts that were made in 2024. I won't get ahead of myself for Hatch Act reasons to get ahead for the next election, but I can assure you this is a priority for the president. Go ahead.
If I could just follow up on your comments about Gaza.
Sure.
There was a ceasefire proposal put forward by both Qatar and Egypt. Hamas accepted it on Monday. Israel has yet to officially weigh in. I'm wondering if the U.S. was at all involved in it, if it's supportive of it, and whether or not the president believes Israel should accept it.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Hamas accepted this proposal after the President of the United States posted a very strong statement about this conflict on Truth Social yesterday. I would refer you back to that statement. As for this proposal that Hamas has now accepted, the United States continues to discuss it, and I'll let the President weigh in on it definitively. You're welcome. Sure.
Caroline, can you describe the president's perspective on taking a stake in Intel in exchange for federal grants? And is this are we expecting to see the White House make similar arrangements with other semiconductor companies and manufacturing companies?
Well, the president, he's been very clear about the need to reshore manufacturing that's critical to our national and economic security. That is especially in regards to chips and semiconductors, which is why the president has initiated the Commerce Department to conduct a study on semiconductors, a Section 232 investigation, so we can ultimately implement tariffs. And it's why our export license requirements remain in place as well. As for this 10% government stake deal, the Department of Commerce continues to work on it. I know Secretary Lutnick is working on it and ironing out the details, but the president wants to put America's needs first, both from a national security and economic perspective. And it's a creative idea that has never been done before to ensure that we're both reshoring these critical supply chains while also gaining something of it for the American taxpayer. You're welcome. Emily.
Thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask about the 3 U.S. warships that are being sent to Venezuela, and there's 4,000 Marines on board. Are you looking at possibility of boots on the ground there?
Okay, all done. No more Caroline Levitt. That's plenty. She rubbed Jesus right off the cross. Not the cross. Not the cross. I got a couple other things before we go, just to kind of cleanse our palate here of stuff. Let's see it. Let's see Skibbity Ops. Here's the new Call of Duty, guys. New Call of Duty.
They want you afraid. Fear makes you easier to control.
Okay, what is that? What is that?
It's time to wake up.
Your streets shall once again run red with your blood.
Oh, they brought Mendez back. He's like the villain in one of the popular good Call of Duty games. They brought him back.
Global unrest on an unprecedented.
Which one? Black Ops 2, right? Yeah. 2035.
We're bringing peace and security to the world.
He refuses to let me go.
Stop looking backwards, David. What matters is what we do.
And we're bringing David Mason back. Just when I thought they were out, they bring me back in.
Next. A lot of people counting on us for answers.
Oh, God.
Inspector 1, report. Need a sit rep.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what is that? Oh my God. Oh, get the fuck out. Okay, now I'm not playing 1 minute of this game. I'm not playing one single fucking minute of this game. Get the fuck. This is everything I hate about Call of Duty in one game. And they were like, you know what? We're gonna make a Call of Duty with everything you hate about it. Oh my god. The wall running, the jetpacks, the fuck.
Pull it together, man!
So eager to leave, Daddy.
Killing the man is a hell of a lot easier than killing the idea.
Oh yeah, let's bring Frank Woods again. You remember that?
To be a Mason. No more games. This ends now.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh god. Yuck. What in the fuck was even that? What is there a massive, what is this, Attack on Titan Call of Duty? What the fuck is happening? No.
Get the Reznov challenge.
Oh wow.
Pre-order now.
Wow. Oh wow. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You get Ted. What the fuck is that? You get Ted if you preload, guys. Look at those weapons. Oh my fuck. The mobile game weapons. Yeah, there's absolutely zero reason to buy this game or even play it. I'm not. This would be, I'll skip this one and not give a fuck like I did with Infinite and with Black Ops 4, I think, or whatever. Because this looks like they're doing Black Ops 4 or some shit. You can't wait for it. I'm not playing this. I will not play this game. This looks like Apex, Fortnite, Warzone. Oh, they got the zombies. Dead Ops Arcade. Yeah, that's, and Xbox. Yeah, especially not on that one. Jesus. That looks fucking terrible. That looks so bad. What's the comments? This actually made... This made me pre-order Battlefield 6. I expected nothing and they still managed to disappoint. It probably couldn't get any worse. Battlefield 6. Never in the history of video games, so trailer made me want to play a game less. I swear, dude, this is terrible. This is fucking terrible. This reminds me of the time COD Infinite Warfare had to compete against Battlefield 1. That's the one I skipped. Ironically, because Battlefield and played Battlefield 1 instead. Looks like we're redoing it. I'm playing Battlefield 6 instead of Call of Duty. I haven't really seriously played a Call of Duty in years, though. I've streamed it, and I played it on my gaming channel. But I'm not playing this Call of Duty. There's nothing to. I wasn't even going to play Battlefield, but Battlefield 6 came out and dropped some heat, so we're going to be playing that. Infinite Warfare versus Battlefield 1 all over again. That's what it is. That's exactly. Feels like Infinite Warfare. Which, if you didn't know, that's an older Call of Duty now. And who played this one? This is the one where they went to space. Call of Duty in space, guys. This is already 9 years old. Jesus. Yeah.
Unknown. Unidentified.
Uh-oh. Aliens. This is literally Infinite Warfare.
This is a full-blown invasion.
It was so bad. Oh my god.
We are getting breaking news out of Switzerland.
Geneva has suffered a massive attack.
They always have like, look, yeah, there you go. Yes, yes. Infinite Warfare. It's back.
Continues to rise, and there's no end in sight.
This is Top Cat Sovereign.
A bunch of bullshit.
Assets immediately.
A bunch of bullshit. Yeah, there. The Halo ships come in. Yeah. It was at this moment when I realized, yeah, I'm not playing this one. And I still haven't to this day. I haven't played 1 minute of Infinite Warfare. I didn't buy it. I didn't play a demo. I didn't play one single minute of this Call of Duty.
Biggest surprise attack in the history of the world.
Yeah.
How could they not have seen us as one of our own?
There you go. Okay, so the Call of Duty when aliens attack. And that was what this one looks like too. Yeah, terrible. I got something for that too though. Yeah, I got something for you guys for that one.
Hey, when Battlefield come out? Because I can't take this shit, yeah. Like, look at this shit. Then they about to do some weird ass finisher move. Nigga goes into a unicorn's ass. A rainbow unicorn ass suction.
You're gonna do a finishing move. You go into a unicorn's asshole. That's what they're doing on Call of Duty, right? That's what Call of Duty's doing these days. Oh my god.
All right, don't cross this line. Otherwise, I can't support you. Okay, I can't stay mad at you, but this one for sure. Okay. All right, Mr. President.
All right, Mr. President.
Okay.
This is one of my 3 a.m. reels. Tell you, just up watching this shit, just crying, laughing in my room, just absolutely crying at this shit because that's all I can do is just laugh and cry and try to. All right. What else? Yeah, Call of Duty sucks. Oh, they got what else? What else? Hold on. See, this is why you guys need to come watch my gaming channel, but this is the only way I can get to most of you on this channel for some reason. Because then when I go gaming, y'all disappear. Not all you. Yeah, they had 1,000 viewers watching me play Battlefield the other day. We had like 800 watching me build a fucking roller coaster yesterday. Oh, there's a new Resident Evil trailer. Let's watch a good game. I can't wait for this. I'll be playing this on release. New Resident Evil. No, we're on my main. No, this is news. I don't care. Listen, gaming releases are news. I don't care. We're putting it in there.
Come on. You have been on that thing all day.
I can't wait for this game.
Work so late. Get some sleep, eh? I'm almost done. Just a sec.
Wait, isn't she a main character in one of the Resident Evil games? The old one of the ones I haven't played.
Down hard. Mom, phone. Mom. It's right beside you. Hello?
Miss Ashcroft?
Yes. Who was it?
Dunno. They asked for Miss Ashcroft and then they hung up on me.
Rude.
Uh-oh.
What the?
They're coming.
They're coming.
Grace, we need to go.
Go where? Mom, what's going on?
Oh, that is the main. She's the main character in Resident Evil 0 or no? Damn it, Resident Evil fans. She's the main. You play as the daughter in this one, but she's the one in like the other Resident Evil games. I just can't think of it right now.
Hurry.
Wait, who's coming? What's wrong?
Shh. We need to keep our voices down.
This is ridiculous.
Come on.
Yeah, Code Veronica. Is that what it is? Oh, I don't know if it's Code Veronica. No. Well, no, that's Claire Redfield. No, Ashcroft. Resident Evil. The mom is named Ashley Ash. Yeah, Alyssa. That's the mom right here. Which one is she in though? I didn't play the one that her mom's in. That you play as. Resident Evil Outbreak. Yeah, I knew it was one of the ones I didn't play. Yeah, That yeah, she's in Outbreak, which is actually I think Resident Evil Outbreak is a good game. I just never played it. It was that came out on the PlayStation 2. That's cool.
Tell me what's going on.
Now is not the time.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Fordamsky. Thank you. Oh, sick. Okay, Resident Evil. Seamless cutscene transitions. Like, what are you trying to be? Okay, trying to be like Rockstar and shit? Okay, that's sick. That was sick. Oh, and plus it's in first person again. Thank God. Like, that was the best. Dude, Resident Evil 7 still. Oh my, I can't play that without getting scared. I didn't like 8 too much. Resident Evil 8 was like vampires and werewolves and shit. No, not my thing. I played the whole thing though. It was good graphics. Sorry, the big lady was scary, I guess, but no, the like actual horror zombie stuff can scare me more. Sorry we missed it, but Representative Collier filed her lawsuit. Love to hear your comments. Yeah, we covered a little earlier, Tiff. Yeah, we went into the whole thing and watched the stream. We're getting to the end of the stream here.
Stay close.
Mom, wait!
Grace, keep moving.
Good, really good graphics. Jesus. The Resident Evil engine's really good though. Their new Resident Evil engine, that 2, the 3, all the remakes, all the remake games, 7 and 8 all look great. But this looks like it's even better.
Oh, who's that? Oh, I'm so sorry about the power outage.
What happened?
He's gonna die.
It's really no excuse, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, no, it's fine.
He's gonna die.
I should have it fixed soon. I just need to find my...
Oh, yeah.
Come on in here, Grace.
Well, damn.
Grace, look at me. Grab my hands. Okay, look at me. Look at me. In and out. Breathe in and out. Oh, Grace. I promise you, I will explain this all to you one of these days.
What the heck, Mom?
Grace. Please know that you are my hope. Never forget that.
What are you talking about?
Just... I love you.
I love you too. Mom, I'm scared.
No. We need to find a way out of here now.
But we don't have any of our stuff.
We can come back for it later, Grace.
Oh, does she get... Oh, what the fuck? Oh, damn. Oh, in February? Ah, she gets... Looks like Mom gets killed. All right, I gotta figure it out now. Okay, one more trailer. Fallout 2? I love Fallout. One more trailer, then I'm done. Then we'll be on my gaming channel, so I'll be over there. Not watching. Maybe we'll probably watch more gaming trailers that came out today on my gaming channel. But I want to see this. I like the Fallout show.
I'm looking for someone.
Common story around here. Someone you care about or someone you hate?
Oh, what a great question. What say you, Miss McClane?
Walter Goggins kills it every time. Or Walton Goggins. The show is so good.
Why would my dad go to
It's New Vegas too. That's what's all. It got teased if you watch the whole show. Spoiler alert, too late now. But if you watch the show, they get the end. They tease New Vegas.
Vegas?
You want to know why the world ended? It started here. With one man.
So cool. Oh, go. People will argue that this was the best Fallout, and they got the game Fallout New Vegas, and yeah, there's definitely some good arguments.
Cooper Howard?
Star of the silver screen?
Like yourself, I am the very best at what I do. And what I do is I know everything.
That's the guy. What's his name in New Vegas? You're gonna have New Vegas characters in this.
I know there's a war coming. The bombs will only be the beginning. My concern is that you would do just about anything to save your family. I think you are actually quite a violent man. You just don't want to kill me yet.
Nice. Oh shit, Dad in the big suit? We got the power suits. They had them. Oh shit. I love dog meat.
Let's get lucky, shall we?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this season's gonna be good. Nice. With the bullet slowdown, bro. That's the what's it called in the game? What's the where you pick your target and it's a slow motion? What's that system called? Yeah, that's the what is that called in the game? You pick your VATS. Thank you, Hashnuts. Yeah, the VAT system, which I'll use that if I'm trying to go for a headshot and I like want to drop that enemy quick. And I think the VAT system is cool. But obviously, like I like actually shooting them and whatnot. Like, but the VAT system is fun to watch, and I'm glad that they're putting stuff like that from the game into the show. But yeah, this season looks like it's going to be better than the first one, and the first one was good too. Oh, Deathclaw. Oh, fuck.
I defer to you about what to do in this situation.
Run. Yeah, you're not, yeah. Damn, they got a Deathclaw in there. That'll be sick. So I hope they keep going with them. They can do Fallout Season 3 and that be in Washington, D.C. They can do the Battle of Anchorage. It seems like that's what they're doing. They're sticking to their games. The first one did its own stuff still, but obviously pulled from the game and whatnot, from the lore of it, and made it accurate that way. But this season's following New Vegas with its own spin. But they have, and they can go to the Commonwealth and do Fallout 4. So looking up, I'm gonna have to check that out. Season 2. All right, guys. That's enough news that's enough news and stuff for today. I'll be reviewing some more trailers from the Gamescom. That's what these trailers came from. And I would have reviewed that today, but I just felt like today in the news of the mail-in ballots and Trump was just a little bit more important. So I was over here, but we'll review some more of the trailers from today at Gamescom on my gaming channel, which is Mercado Gaming. So if you guys want to check more out and relax and do games, I'm going to be playing Battlefield actually. Okay, because I got to unlock the skins for Battlefield 6. So we'll be playing Battlefield 2042 for Christ's sake, and I didn't want to do that, but then they dropped a new map and a bunch of new weapon skins and vehicles that you can unlock for Battlefield 6. So I got to go do that. So we'll be playing Battlefield tonight again, but 2042, which I'm sorry, it's not my favorite Battlefield. It's not that good, but at least it's something. But this is my gaming channel, Mercado Gaming. Feel free to come on over, you guys. I appreciate everybody that does that. Thank you to everybody that supports the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Support Mercado Media and our efforts with news media. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys again. Back live tomorrow with the news. We'll definitely have news tomorrow with Texas. Just expect that. So, and it'll be at 2. It might be at noon, depending on when the House. I got to research tonight when the House in Texas is going to convene. There will likely be like a broadcast or like some Texas broadcasting we can watch of like what's happening in there with the gerrymandering. So that's all tomorrow. So rest well, be ready for tomorrow in Texas news and everything going on there, and maybe some federal stuff in response to it with Trump and and you'll have Gavin Newsom chiming in. So there'll be a lot to review and go over tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel, follow the Twitch, all that good stuff, you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.